Welcome to a DropTent Media production.
Hey guys, I'm Jesse Dram, and you are, of course, listening to the Magical Misery Tour podcast. That's the way we're going to open everyone from now on. I hope you're delighted. Our guest this week is Matt Hyams. Matt Hyams is funny as fuck. We've been trying to get him on for a while. He is a new father. In this podcast, we find out he had a pretty interesting father, which we're all about. We talked about fighting with your brothers, and it was just, this is a really, really good fucking podcast, and I'm all about it. You can find him at Matt Hyams. I believe that was on Instagram, at Matt_Hyams. By the way, that Hyams is Hyams, in case you can't look at your computer or phone, you lazy fucking read it yourself. You can also find him for egobabymag.com. That is ego, not emo, the way I keep wanting to say it. I'm going to be in charge of the spinoff, emobabymag.com. The most adorable band-aids for your baby slit wrists. But that is egobabymag.com. Check it out. Here we go. Okay.
I love you.
Hello and welcome to the Magical Misery Tour, where funny people discuss life's unfunniest things. With me as always and drinking at noon, Neil Wood.
Hey, how are you guys?
You've done a lot of yelling at me so far today.
I like to start the day.
By yelling at
I like to start the day. Yeah,
at your radio
and you're
partner.
nonsense. I think you're nonsense. I think you come in with like when you don't need to use the word vegan. We were talking about this off mic.
I've been eating vegan a lot of the time.
Eating vegan, like this is what I mean.
Neil is a vegan
diet.
absolutist.
I am not. I think that eating vegan is just to say I've been eating less meat. It's not, you're not that complicated. Using the keyword there is someone trying to grasp at straws for identity that we've talked about. And fucking hate it. And you're not going to be a vegan. You're going to be someone who eats less meat. It's going to be fine.
Right, but I would think
like
vegan is more on the scale of what it is, because it's not like the way most people would do it, like, oh, I'm having a salad. Like, no, I have a girl who knows vegan cuisine in and out, and she is replacing the shit I like with vegan stuff.
Welcome to the Magical Misery Tour, now hosted by me. It's good to see you guys. We have a wonderful guest.
We told you we've been retooling. Neil is the host now.
Yeah.
I will be stepping down.
Thank God. But let's get to our guest. Let's go. I'm sorry to start with just mom and dad and fighting. I apologize.
Our guest this week, despite our co-host being a terrible
I don't need to be
host,
on this. This could just be your thing. I am 100% fine with that.
Mr. Matt Hyams. Matt, how you doing?
Hello.
Look at you. You're delightful.
You can't control the world.
Get it a little closer. Pull that thing close to your face. There we go. I can't control the world.
You can try.
I could try.
Which is what you're doing.
Which is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for saying my side that I was going to say. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't like me. I get it. I get it. I understand.
Ooh,
I'm happy to be here. What's happening?
How much?
I think we're all about to discuss our most unlikable qualities.
I think before we do that, I want those unlikable qualities. Make sure to tell us, because you have some great web series and stuff. I want to know your plugs. I want to know some things that we can check you out on. You're very funny, and then I want to hear your dislikable things. I want to know the things you hate about me.
Well, I got my poppin' Instagram account.
Dude, you're crushing
it.
You do. That's true.
At Matt Hyams. I'm Twitter at Matt_Hyams. I'm MattHyams.com. My name is Matt Hyams. I have no gigs. No. So you can't come see me.
You're a child.
I have a child, and
what's the website? I thought you were going to talk about. Are you doing that through Instagram?
Oh, an Ego Baby. I have Ego Baby.
Yeah.
Ego Baby Mag. Like Ego Baby Magazine.
So much fun.
It should just be egobaby.com, but I'm not going to pay $3,000 to get the URL.
Yeah. What's the most unlikable thing about your baby?
He
votes
puts
libertarian.
up a fight. He is a fucking Republican. He's a narcissist. No, he's a. Honestly, this most unlikable thing is that he seems to think that he has to put up a fight when he's tired.
He's like me.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to do this.
Don't go calmly into that cold nap.
Yeah. Go die quietly.
I'm that way.
Yeah.
I get more irritated if I'm like, I get them. I understand. I resonate with your son.
Maybe his dolphin pitch squeal also, which is right in your eardrum.
How old is he now?
He's a little. He's about 7 months. It's really hard to find anything that's even the stuff that I don't like. I do really like. I even like cleaning his ass.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go. That's something to look forward to.
I said that strange.
I don't mind if they say there's some point where like the poop changes and then you don't like it. I don't know. I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the smell. I kinda
Consistency and everything's fine. Like you're
He
like,
is savory. I'm
Yeah.
into it. You know, and
nice.
I don't know. He's cute. Everything he does is great. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's good. 7 months. It hasn't turned yet. How long do you think it's going to go until you start hating him?
hating his guts.
Yeah, just not guts, but hating him.
You know, the other day I came back from somewhere. Yesterday, actually, we have a nanny. He was with her, and I came in. He was tired, and he just like, you're kind of like, do you know who I am? And he didn't really
Just like
make
questioning.
a face of recognition to me. I was like,
right.
I'm not crazy about you right now. I want full recognition.
Right.
You know? Yeah, I suppose as soon as like he's doesn't need me anymore, I'll
I've always
start closing that door.
I've always loved babies with distrustful expressions.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that kind of like, now you got to earn this shit.
Yeah.
I don't, just because I popped out of that lady you like a lot, that don't mean shit.
I hate cats.
You're nothing to me.
They like whoever's giving them what they need in that specific moment.
Oh, so I'm like a baby then. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we are all babies. Ego baby. That's where it fucking came from. Hello.
And tell people what Ego Baby is.
I'm a bigger fan of id baby, but that's just my Freudian subcode.
Ego Baby is a website. It's like it's a satirical website about satirizing all things spiritual or new age or wellness based. I missed something.
Yeah, you did. It's fine.
I was making eyes at our new producer because she
He's not a new producer.
she appreciates me more than Neil does.
Jesus Christ. It's like I gotta support him all throughout the year.
Looking
give him
great,
a couple
Bo.
of jabs.
Looking great.
And immediately he falls apart. It's just, oh my God. I shouldn't be on here, I feel like you guys would have good.
You're coming in hot.
Yeah, no, I'm on it's a different wavelength. I'm more Charlie Day to your, whatever the other character
Your
was.
voice sounds like Charlie Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Charlie Day only works because he's a tiny, non-threatening
Right.
man.
I am
You are the Stretch
overbearing.
Armstrong, Charlie Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
a
saw your
bummer.
workout routine on your fridge. It's serious business.
I don't fuck around a little bit.
Yeah. It's written in
you gotta
red
do it
marker.
Yeah,
That's
and underneath it just says "you're an asshole," and I just keep writing that. And every day I do a set of something. And
See, I've
Right,
found
fucker.
since going mostly vegan that I don't need to exercise nearly as much.
you still need to exercise. I don't know why that phrase should not come out of your mouth.
I'm just saying. I know.
You should
I
always
notice I
need
haven't
to
been doing
exercise.
as much cardio, but my weight continues to go down.
Matt, how do you keep the tight bod that you have? How do you keep
Actually, yeah, that does
This-
infuriate me
you're
because
a
you're how old are
wafy,
you?
delicate
I'm
man?
45.
Okay, so you're older than us by a stretch.
And Stretch Armstrong.
Besides for the hairline, I mean, he is crushing it in looks.
But that is perfect for his age, actually.
yeah. No. I think it's good looking.
Not to mention,
I'm holding on to
particularly,
whatever I got. Yeah.
particularly at
Plus
45.
I'm married, so.
That's the hairline you hold onto into your 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice little
From an
song.
aerial view, it's much worse. Like, I'm actually very insecure right now about where your camera's pointing. Because I saw myself
Really?
on the Nerds with Words, and I was like,
We do have a
I'm
bald
a little
spot
bit of a
camera,
Laotian.
specifically.
A little bit of a Laotian.
It's right there.
prisoner
It actually
on
just
this-
only gets the back of your head.
perspective.
It only
It
gets
does, right?
there.
It
Yeah.
keeps track of the follicles as they fall out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's got its work to do.
We have a
today.
counting clock that's on the camera, and it counts. It's
like the deficit.
It's very fun.
Okay,
Yeah,
for
I'm
those
not
keeping track at
crazy.
home, he's lost 27 so far this episode. I'm sorry. Continue.
I'm gonna spread. I'm doing a little man spreading right now. Where am I?
Open up. Tell us what you hate. I'm only
Oh,
here
my
with dislikes.
body, my physique.
Yeah, your body.
Yeah,
That's
no one
what's
ever
going
asked me
on.
about my body. Like,
I would love to know about your body.
I have good
I'd love
metabolism. It's the one thing I got. I
Yeah.
think, but I get fat. I'll get fat. Can I get fat with you?
You can get
Can I
fat
get fat with
us.
you right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Be fat with us.
I don't eat. I don't eat. I don't eat sweets. That's my secret.
Okay.
It's fancy.
Often, I eat a lot of fruit and grapes, and
Okay.
I eat a lot of
like
fruit. And if I'm gonna snack and pig out, it's usually on like apples and fruit and pears.
So it's
Really?
sweet stuff without the sugar. You could almost
Exactly. People say, "Oh, but apples got sugar." Go fuck yourself.
They're
You know,
natural
I don't.
sugars.
I don't.
Very
to coin a phrase, they're nature's candy.
Yeah, nature's toothpaste. apple.
wanna be on
I
this
don't like it
podcast
when people are like, the apple fruit actually has a lot of sugar. Just get out of here.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing.
It does,
Just get
but
it.
it does. It's just natural.
It's not
fructose versus
refined sugar.
glucose.
It's right.
right?
That's obviously the big difference. He's like, yeah, it does. It's natural sugars
Yeah.
that your body processes.
Right, so you
quite
should
different from refined
Sit
sugar.
on a huge dildo and fuck yourself.
Yeah, because I mean, thank you. I would love to do that later. if
I
we
mean,
could arrange
it's
that.
not a threat. It's an invite.
Yeah, it's an invite. It's, hey, what are you up to?
Yeah. The other one I don't like is people warning you about how much fat an avocado has. It's like,
Oh yeah, no, these are the people they don't understand that. It's like,
I'll eat as much avocado as I want
yeah, it's like,
while sitting on a
We'll
dildo.
go
In fact,
back
I'm
to
using the
misery
avocado
foods.
to lube it up. I'm not afraid
I like
of how much
avocado
fat
based
is in an
lubes.
avocado. I'm
Yeah.
45.
You can take it.
I've been around the block.
see, I was
around
gonna
the
say,
cock.
what infuriates? Hey now,
Hey, all right.
what infuriates me is when I see a dude older than me in better shape than I've ever been.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, for you, it's got to be upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I've actually been saying for years that like I'm gonna have to go vegan at some point because once I hit middle age, it's like okay, I can't fucking lie to myself anymore. Like something needs to be done.
It does get
or I'm
harder. What are
dying
you
at 60.
eating? That's first of all, you don't look bad.
Let's
I'm looking
get-
at your stomach.
Oh,
right
yeah,
now.
well,
I just did a direct eye line to your midriff.
Believe me, I have body dysmorphia. If you want to go look in the mirror, we'll both see the
This
horror
is-
that stares back at me.
What do you have a mirror that does that?
I think it's everyone. It's those new mirrors they're making.
Yeah.
Right.
They got that technology.
What are you eating that you think is making you?
I don't want to.
I mean, primarily, it's a lot of alcohol every single night, and
Beer.
then waking up in the middle of the night and snacking on things.
Oh, that's
and
it.
then
That's what it
and
is.
then not remembering
It's
in
the
the morning.
post 9 p.m. food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of. There may have been multiple times in the last year when I've woken up and found half a sandwich in my bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
And that's not a joke.
No.
I think some people would think that's like a clumsy joke. This man, which
believe
I've
you.
never heard of. I've never heard. I mean, I've heard of it, I guess, but I thought it was much more rare. And then I met him. He's like, "No, I'll just wake up and I'll be eating something."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "That's terrifying."
Well, no, you and I were roommates.
I
I
blacked
had to
out
tell you right
before.
there, like, listen, I'm going to eat some of your food. I won't remember. I'll
Sure.
replace it. Just let me know.
Just let me
And
know.
it worked out so well that he moved out as soon as the lease was up, and we've never lived together
Yeah, so we
since.
never lived together.
Despite being such close friends who yell at each other all the time. You scum.
God, I have to keep it down with him. He's getting sensitive. You look alarmed. You look resident.
I'm just waiting for
Residence?
you.
No, that's not
Resonated.
Yeah, that's correct. But I love what we're doing. Yeah, sorry. I don't know if you feel cold or this is
Oh,
a
no,
thing
I'm
or
not
I'm
cold. No,
being
it's hot.
awkward. I can't tell. It
You're not
probably
being-
is.
You're
We
being
didn't.
great. Everyone's doing.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Here's what I want to get into.
Everyone's
Matt,
playing their role.
In the pocket.
Yeah. Matt, can we start on the journey that is your life? Can we know? I mean, as this format changes in this podcast, we'll go off into other things. But for now,
Is this the
I
format?
gotta know why what did you have a shitty childhood? What was your childhood like? I want to know about your childhood. I want to know and good stuff. Don't. Yeah.
Is this? Are we in it?
We're in it.
Have I
Trying
entered?
to.
Open the door.
Yeah,
Have
you've
I walked
opened the
through
door.
We're doing a soft format intro here.
Were you bullied? And if you were bullied, good stories. Hit us with it now.
I was abandoned by my father.
Spectacular.
Okay.
Already a good
Begins.
thing.
Let's start there.
At a bus station.
Open up on an Italian market.
He-
in a bassinet.
We open up in the Quebec countryside.
Oh.
You know, if you want to get real.
Yes, I'm saying.
Hello. We opened up. He's a dropped out of society Ken Kesey enthusiast. Wants to do communal living, taking mescaline and shrooms and pot, and he's taking the pot.
Dude,
I was envisioning him as like an
not
early
smoking, he's just
Frenchman at
taking it with him.
1920s. Like I saw him with like the little beret, but he's rough and he's still got the 5 o'clock. But now you're
No,
very
he's a
different.
full bearded, shirt off, playing
Yeah.
the flute naked on the roof.
He's Midsommar.
This is full synchronicity. Literally on the I was listening to a podcast on the way over here, and they just happened to mention Ken Casey out of
That's
nowhere.
weird.
Ken Casey.
I love coincidences.
Yeah, but it was specifically in like a guy was telling a story like I got acid from this girl, but she said it was like the old school, like there's old hippie like gangsters to a certain degree
Right.
that still make like the original
Well, when they were
recipe.
testing,
right.
when they were testing with acid,
Right.
that acid that they were testing with the chemical grade stuff was like higher than it was
Right.
very
It was
pure.
the Owsley stuff. That was the
yeah,
guy
yeah.
in San Francisco who made like
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah, and they said, if you got that
Aldous
acid-
Huxley.
No, it's Owsley. I'll look it up.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you must.
Well, this is
not
why
be
I
saying
should be
that, right?
producing and not in front of the camera for all to see.
I'll just keep talking.
You don't need to.
All right, let's just take a
keep
break.
it. Let's do it. Just take a little.
The best thing for a video is just to take a
Take a
break
little nap.
with no one.
You just climb on the table and take 5 seconds.
I'm gonna eat your.
That was his first name, Owsley Stanley.
I never heard of
that. No, it was the famous. Made pretty
Why
much
do-
all the
I
acid.
hate that we
in
live
really?
San Francisco.
Slow the conversation. That
Yeah.
always gets on my nerves. So he was that guy. He was the person who was
He was a TV journalist,
right,
like.
who wanted communal living.
Well, he did a story on Ken Kesey. He went to Ken Kesey's farm, tripped for the first time, and was like, "I'm going to follow this path." He was married
This
already with 2
explains
kids, and then he's like, "We're going to move to the countryside where there's no running water, no plumbing or electricity." His marriage was on. It's not a best idea when your marriage is on the rocks. You're like, I think I know the solution is to get rid of the lights and the water.
Yeah, no, not a smart.
Baby,
move.
we've been going through some hard times. I think
Yeah.
it's all this electricity. It's getting
also-
in our
there's so much
veins,
light on.
bouncing against
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
I want to go a place we only need positive without the negative, you know?
Exactly. Right.
DC, baby.
Yeah, through the darkness, we'll find the light.
Yeah, let's just sit in that for a little bit.
Can we
guys suck.
marinate in that?
Sauna of the ears.
It's a.
Jesse brings it back. You delight me. You do delight me.
That marriage didn't work out.
No way.
No?
What?
So
You're
then
kidding.
He stopped being a TV journalist and he moved into the country and then was working on there.
Continue. Sorry, don't
I don't
stop.
know. Well, I'm distracted.
I know. I apologize. Go ahead. I apologize.
What happened?
There was
You're looking for
I was
water?
making a note. No.
So
Sorry.
can I drink that beer?
I asked you if you
I
want.
know,
Now
I
I have to
didn't
go
want to.
get another one, please. Help yourselves. Yeah, they just pop up. They'll pop up. Now it's gonna get loosey in here, bro.
Oh, shit. I feel my father coming
I'm
through.
like, it's Saturday. What do you want me to do?
Is this the
Slow down from this,
podcast where you
go do
decide,
some
like, you know,
chores.
I think Dad had the right thing. I'm going to leave my wife and kid, and we just need to, like, podcast and drink beers.
He did.
Cut to 2 hours from now. Were you drinking?
He did LSD.
I had a beer.
Yeah. He did LSD and then went off into the woods. Like
Yeah.
that blows my mind.
Then he was going into. He quit being a TV journalist, but then of course he needed to work, so he would go into Montreal from the countryside to find work, and he was part of this like communal community, like communal living community, like and so they'd like have a place for people you could stay in Montreal. So he'd go like
Right.
stay there the night. Then he'd go back home. He'd look for work during the day.
Yeah.
During that time, he met my mother when he was like going into Montreal and like sleeping there that night or whatever. They had like a mystical encounter at a bar where they're like making eyes at each other, but they didn't say anything. And then she left, and then he followed her out the bar, and she turned. She says, "I don't know why, but I felt like I had to turn around." And then when she did, they were staring at each other, and then they just walked up to each other without saying anything and
Get the
embraced.
fuck out of here, dude.
And then I think they spent that night together
You
at the
think?
Montreal
Do you
community
think?
living community.
They
pad.
walked up with no words, just feeling each other's auras. Yeah, they probably fucked hard.
That's
They fucked so hard. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Wordless
Also, I didn't even
hug.
see that coming. I thought that your mom was the lady who was leaving. I was just like, oh, that's so upsetting. That's a bummer that he just was like, have you had acid, son? You haven't? Don't worry about it. And he just left, you know.
He had a whole
No,
family.
He had a whole other family. Have you ever met? Never, probably.
Oh,
also,
yeah.
How? Oh, you have met them?
Oh yeah.
No way.
So he's dead now.
Okay, well,
but
that's-
at the funeral, my
bringing
mom
that
came. My mom and I went to Montreal. We went to Canada for the funeral, and she stayed at his ex-wife's house. They became friends.
They refer to you guys as the exciting
this is
family.
also-
Like they're just like, oh, they're the acid family. That's the family he had after the acid. That's only funny to me.
The acid
Cool. Let's
family,
keep
yeah.
going.
So, I'm an acid baby.
You are an acid baby.
I'm
was
an
tripping.
ass.
I don't know. Sometimes you do sullen silences where I don't know if you're really absorbing what you
Oh, no,
just
no, no.
said.
No,
You're just like,
he's feeling the universe.
I'm thinking.
an acid baby.
I'm like, is there anything funnier I could say? That's
I
all.
figured.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I thought.
My
There's a
brain is
delay.
just-
The kids, you know. It's
I was
all
thinking of a pun like I'm an asset, baby.
baby. Oh, you. What are you, Jesse Dram, right now with this nonsense?
I wasn't an asset to him. I was
No.
disposable.
Yeah. So, oh god. So wait. So they had this beautiful moment. I
So they had
assume
this
you were
moment.
conceived that night, but
I don't think I was. No. So then he goes back to the country, and he's so deluded that he told. This my mom found out when we went up for the funeral that his ex-wife told my mom, she's like, yeah, he came back after meeting you, and he said, he woke me up, and he said, I found the woman who's I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And she's going to take care of me.
This is Gary's room, right?
Yeah.
It's really dark out here without any lights.
Well, it'll be Gary. You know, you're not just, but, God. What I don't know what Gary is in French. Do they have Garys in France?
I don't know. It would have to be Garu.
Yeah, Gary.
Like Gareaux.
All right, Gary.
Garu.
So anyway,
Yeah,
How did wife number one?
Yeah,
that didn't work out.
No way.
You know, they she
We're
went.
talking 70s. What?
We're talking.
Where are we?
Yeah, we're talking like
Because
72.
you came around. Okay. Because you're born what? Late 70s.
I was born in 74.
74.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that didn't
Good
work.
year for Elton John.
And then did
So-
they just move out? And he was just like, I'm gonna go get taken care of by this woman.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then I don't know where she. I guess went to Montreal with the kid. He went the two kids, and I'm not really sure where she moved to actually.
Okay.
But my mom moved to Canada, and she bought a farm.
Well, wait a sec. Was she just visiting Montreal before,
So
or
I have a half brother who I grew up with,
okay?
who had a different father, and his father died when he was like 2, so it must have been like 71. So like a year later, she was still depressed. Her friends took her to Montreal for a little getaway.
Okay, but
that's when
she's-
she met my father.
Okay.
So he was like, my brother was 5 at that point. No, he was 3 or 4.
Quick pitch, because this is the Magical Mystery Tour. Every time someone like talks about he died or says something she died or something, can we make a little thing where we're like, hurrah! Like we do
Oh,
that
yeah, you should do a
to
graphic.
make it fun.
Okay.
Like a tap dancing.
Think about
Grim
it. We're
Reaper
gonna
or
keep
something.
going. Yeah, something fun like
you and I have a
embracing-
little thing that we can just yell out that immediately makes our guests very uncomfortable.
Well,
And then you know what it is.
Like the toast.
I
It's-
like,
you should
yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I like that. Anyway,
It's your
moving forward.
podcast.
Yeah, why don't you shut the fuck up about it?
I'm going with you can't control what others do, but you can try.
Yeah, you can try. So this is sorry.
so-
Brother died, but look
I
at you.
feel
just saying-
abandoned right now.
Yeah, you
I
should
have
feel
very
abandoned.
sensitive to
But
these things. You
We're not even
can't-
to your birth. We're not even,
yeah.
dude. You open the story because now I started to imagine of who is telling you this story. Did you?
What if I just stood up and I'm
Did
not
you
wearing pants
understand?
anymore? Like
I know,
every time I tell
would
this
love
story,
that.
I'd be
I
very
would
impressed
love
that you
that.
did that without like
wouldn't
letting
it?
anything on.
It's my third arm.
But that's what's blowing me away because when you started to regale us with this story, I was like, this sounds
Would you
like
say it's a
Lord of the
regale-
Rings.
a
Yeah, it
regalian-
felt
a
like you were
regalian?
like opening up on the countryside. 1972 is
Yeah.
a year of love or whatever. Like
French horses.
But I was like, where is he hearing this story from? I was like, did your dad just sit you down? Well, son, I used to have another family. And then I'm wondering,
My mother.
your mom actually was like, we met, we saw, and she probably was like, it was very beautiful. Like I just felt like I
Yeah.
had to turn around and I saw your father.
Yeah.
Wow. So how long after this cut to your birth? Because I don't know if
So
there's-
then they moved on to a farm together. They had animals. There was going to be like a communal thing. Didn't really work out that much.
God, so she had such great vacation sex. She just changed countries.
Yeah, right.
pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know you're thinking of a joke. Just
No,
act
I
in
was
the
picturing
moment,
my
buddy.
mother having sex.
I know, isn't that beautiful?
But I do that every Saturday at 12:30.
Every
It's
Saturday
just
at
it's a reminder I set.
How Lady Hyams got her groove back.
Busting
Lady
that
Hyams really is beautiful. So
You're born there.
I'm born in Montreal.
Oh shit! That's
Yeah.
why you're so pompous. This makes sense now.
That's why my name, if you ever see my full name spelled, it's Mathieu.
Oh,
It's Mathieu.
Mathieu.
I never knew
I
that.
never knew that
Yeah,
either.
Mathieu Fontaine
Wow,
is my French side.
that's fucking hot, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not saying that our producer's a woman, but you better calm the fuck down. She's getting hot. I
Are
think.
you?
Not saying she is a woman, but if she was,
You should have dropped this Anglo shit a long time. You have any idea how much you'd be getting booked if you were Mathieu Fontaine?
Mathieu Fontaine.
Dude,
Fontaine.
Mathieu Fontaine.
Maybe I can get like a
Fucking sick. You should rebrand yourself.
This next motherfucker
Marginalized.
coming to the stage. I don't know how he says this shit.
There's gonna be a lot of
Matty Fontaine.
Mattoon. Mattoon.
Matt Fountain.
Matt
Yeah.
Fountain.
That's what it really means.
Wow.
Matt Fountain.
I don't know why I'm that surprised by it, but Matt Fountain is one of my favorite names now. Like,
That should be my stage name.
Can we keep thinking of jokes as we go about what Matt Fountain would be like?
Matt Fountain and the
yeah.
comedy spray.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, Matt Fountain sounds like the lead singer of a band with the and. Like Matt Fountain and
Oh, yeah.
the Lurches.
Oh,
Like
Right,
it
right,
sounds
right.
like that. But
Matt Fountain and the wish pennies.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
that's not-
Right.
that's not
Penny
bad.
wishes.
Yeah.
I
Penny
would have
wishes.
changed it.
Yeah. See, that's the French.
He's taking a
That's the
very French
Canadian.
view of it. Listen, this is an Anglo podcast now and forever.
Fucking watch
Said
yourself,
that
dude.
episode 1.
Well, I mean,
The French
French
are-
are white mostly.
Yeah, but they're not Christian Anglo, are they?
No, they're
No,
not.
they're very Catholic, aren't
They're very
they?
Catholic.
I don't know what they are.
Francophone?
We're not religious. We don't care.
We don't care about
God is dead.
So I mean, so how much did you grow up there? You were just born there.
8
and then-
months.
8 months.
Out.
Okay.
Boom.
Gotcha.
Get me out of here.
Your mom
Au
and your dad
revoir.
broke up, and it was just. Were they ever married, or did they ever actually officially?
They
No,
never married. They were
okay.
together
Cool.
a few years, had me. My father was not interested in being a father. He told my mom, I'm going he sat her down one day. He's like, I've decided I'm going to walk the earth. And, and she said, that's cool. I'm not going to be here when you get back.
I think I turned off the heat, probably.
Yeah.
But that is fun.
Are you not coming back either?
Coming right back.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm telling you a story.
Matt, it's okay. Look at me.
It's gonna be fine, man.
He'll be
Is
back.
he coming back?
When he's back. What's important is you and I. Nothing comes between us.
You're my mom. You're my mom in this podcast.
Okay.
Okay.
There we're good. He just has to
I'm
go
gonna transfer.
wander. He has to get that wandering out of his system, and it'll be okay. Yeah, that is. Wow, your dad sounds a lot like. It reminds me almost like a Hunter S. Thompson thing, where it's like if you read about him in a book, like, oh, that's fucking awesome, but then his son very publicly, like, no, he was fucking terrible being his son.
Second coincidence of the day.
Okay,
Hunter Thompson and I have the same birthday.
there we fucking go.
Something right about what's happening
There's
right
something
now.
happening today, and
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with Neil leaving.
So I'll just keep going. We know what to. And then
So
my mom moved
you're-
us to Florida, and then she wasn't around a lot because she worked so much. My older brother was mostly like
How much older?
5 years older.
Okay.
And we had sort of like we were good younger, and then he kind of like hit puberty and got a lot of testosterone in his system, and became very intimidating.
Yeah.
And
God, that's gonna suck for a look. I'm the oldest, so I
you
wouldn't
are?
know. Yeah, but like, imagine, say, 13, the testosterone really dumps in, and
Yeah.
you're 8, and up until this point, he's just been like, "That's my older
A kid,
brother.
right.
He takes care of me." And then one day he's like, "Get the fuck out of my room, Fred.
yeah, he and
We were cool yesterday."
yeah, he hit testosterone, and it was like, and he looked very old too. Like
Okay.
at 13 or 14, he looked like 18 or 19.
Okay.
So it was a harsh transition.
Which is funny, even at that age, you could put that together. Just I remember that age, and just like 18 and 29 were just indistinguishable to me. Like,
Yeah.
yes, no, those are all.
Oh, I didn't know at
those
the
are
time you
exactly
looked 18, but he
equal
looked
adults.
old. He looked like
Right.
an old person.
Okay.
Very quickly. So it was a hard transition. And then, so I don't know. That's my childhood mostly. Then we lived in Miami for 9 years. Then we moved to Westchester, New York, suburbs above Manhattan,
Okay.
from when I was 10 years old through high school.
Okay. What's your school life like? You a popular kid? You a sad kid?
I was sad.
You're the weird French
when I
kid.
moved. I was fine in Miami, normal, and then we moved to New York. I was sad. Actually, I was fine. I was sad in Hebrew school, but I was fine. I was like middle of the road, popular.
I
don't know.
did not realize you were Jewish.
Yeah. Well, my mom's Jewish. My father wasn't.
Okay.
But I was, like in high school, I was like, I don't know. I wasn't unpopular. I wasn't like captain of the football team.
But you would have liked a little more. A little more.
Don't project.
I was what? I would have liked a little more popularity.
Yeah.
Everyone would not agree with that.
Yeah, sure. Who wouldn't when you're
fuck is
an
wrong?
insecure teenager?
Yeah.
I was popular enough.
Not me. I had secrets. I didn't need eyes on me.
So you were like lurking in the hallways.
Yes.
I picture you as a leather jacket wearing,
Yep.
metalhead.
2 for 2.
People don't know really what's going on with you. They might think you.
Now you're just doing tarot card shit. Like, that's not. Yeah. No one knows. I'm sorry to be so aggressive.
that would've
I'm
been-
seeing
that
you as like
would've
an
been great
upside
end.
down coins.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I'm saying, yeah.
That would have been a great end to that. Like, I see you, leather jacket, metalhead, a little lonely, and is this your card? Like,
Yeah.
Yep, you got me.
That area of the high school that like not everyone's hanging out in. You're there, smoking cigarettes. Metallica, is that your go-to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. There's somebody in the room who knew me in high school, but they're not allowed to say anything.
I don't.
right now.
Yeah, I did know a little bit.
You guys went to high school
about
together?
you.
No.
I'm. God damn it, Matt.
What?
So,
Where did I go wrong?
goddamn place.
You're not going to abandon me, are you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Neil.
Just happy you're back.
So, well, what I want to know is, I mean, if we're talking about high school, I mean, one, I did find some science. They do say, like, anytime a kid moves, which is what my case was, like, I just never. Kids who, the more stability you have as a child, the better off you are. The more, they really related that with a lot more confidence. Like, they meant that, like, with confidence issues and things like that, insecurities. They say kids who start in a place, especially one school, and at least see that through for the longer time, will have security, and they feel that security, and it kind of just it goes throughout a lot of things in their life.
They get better jobs. They get more pussy, etc. All the quantifiable
or dick,
categories.
whatever they're into. You know,
No,
whatever.
just pussy. It's a weird
Why
paradox.
just
I don't
pussy?
know why it works.
I know, it's so strange.
Stable home, you don't homosexual.
Yeah,
Yeah,
apparently.
everyone knows.
Apparently, according to Jesse Dram, that's what it is. I want to say Jesse Dram, that's on Facebook, at Jesse Dram. You can check out all his nonsense and hatred.
Trump 2024.
Fuck me.
3 terms. 3T.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Try T.
So, in saying that, like, yeah, you kind of moved around. When did you moved around a little bit in the States, right? In New York. That's what years of schooling were those?
To
Were those
fifth
major?
grade, entering 5th grade, moved to New York.
Okay.
So
That's what I'm
0
saying,
to
like,
9, Miami. 5th on.
Just a sexy kid in Miami, just tearing it up.
Don't talk about vegan. We were hot in the vegan community in Miami.
Oh,
yeah. We grew up
baby.
macrobiotic.
Oh shit.
No dairy, no grain, no dairy, no sugar, no Roger, no rerun, no rent. Does anyone know that reference?
Wait, no what?
Roger to rerun the rent.
It's from fuck. What was that?
I thought it was Rent because you said Roger and Rent. I
No,
honestly
no,
just didn't
it's,
pick up what you said.
What's the what's happening? The show, what's happening? You guys are too young.
I know of that.
I know
of it.
Rerun.
Rerun. No Roger, no rerun, no rent.
Okay.
If they were gonna, it's an episode. I think.
Holy shit, dude! You are aging in front of us. I love it.
I'm
You
gonna
are-
abandon myself.
Yeah.
No dairy, no sugar, no meat, no white flour.
What is that called?
Macrobiotic, but you do eat fish.
Macrobiotic.
Yeah, so
You do fish.
we were heavy in the and my mom had a guru, this
God.
Indian guy named Maharaji. So we were
No
like a
fucking
I feel like
vegan.
way.
half of them are named Maharaji. I almost
Maser-
said Maserati.
No, you can be Maharaji. There's more than one Maharaji.
Right. Maharaji, and then you have usually a second name, like Dakota or something.
Yeah,
You're like Maharaja Dakota.
So was your mom
Something
normal
sexy.
at some point, or was it just running in with her mountain man hippie?
Yeah.
Your dad.
You think she normalized
moved
eventually,
her
became like
onto
a
that.
corporate
I don't
lady
know
or
when
something?
she met.
Like that might
The
be when the
guru.
rail switch was thrown, and then it's like, well,
The guru
I'm
had nothing
gonna
to
have a
do with
guru.
my father.
Okay.
That was just the late 70s.
That was her thing.
Well,
It was
I'm
early
more
70s.
curious if she was more inclined to that type of thing before meeting your father, or if that was like the,
I think
the
that-
black and white turns to tie dye and summer.
No, I think my father served as some sort of catalyst in that
Okay.
direction.
Okay.
Because she was more psychologically scientific based, I think, before that. And then she became spiritual.
Okay.
She's a psychologist
God, of course.
with a spiritual side,
makes-
with a side of spirituality.
Ew, it's disgusting.
Yeah, well,
It's really
that's
gross.
what gets you that high.
How much
70s.
did you hate or love your father at that point?
You know, I didn't grow up with him. I
Yeah.
didn't have a feeling about him. I didn't understand. I don't have like a conception of like fatherhood.
Sure.
So that's what I tell my baby when I put him to sleep. So no, I didn't really. It's like when you don't have it. Some people make it like the main point of their life, main focal point. Like I didn't have a father, and like that's everything that's wrong with me or
right.
something.
You need to be an asshole about it, but that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Keep
Is that
talking.
your issue?
No, not at all. It's good.
Okay.
I don't know. I get
Go
it.
ahead
It's
with
like
your
that
nonsense.
some
Did you
people-
have him and then lose him?
It was more of like,
I don't know why I'm doing this hand gesture.
They took him. No.
We'll do the rest of the podcast.
Yeah. Talk about it through the puppet.
This he can tell you all of my trauma, but I can't.
I knew they were divorced from a young age. Yeah, I think it had to do with more of like I knew they were divorced from a young age. Like I knew something had happened and that we were not together. Whereas you were just like you just went to
Non-existent.
Miami. Yeah. You were just like, no, I just have a mom and we're cool. Like, and that's
Yeah. Well, he also made a conscious choice not to stop
see you.
seeing me. Yeah.
Right.
Well, he came once to like Miami, and then
No way.
And then he was supposed to come another time.
only
And
say
then,
that.
Did it take him that long to wander down there?
Yeah,
Was that
really.
it?
That's all I'm wondering. Like,
It's on my route.
I think it was more to win my mom back than to see me. To tell you the truth.
Really?
Yeah, I think he was angry that she left.
Where's that lady who could take care of me?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I forgot how to farm. I can't figure out these peas.
He was supposed to come down for a visit, and then he just didn't show up, and then he didn't answer the phone,
Motherfucker.
and then he finally, but she got in touch with him, and she was like, "What happened? You were supposed to come down." He's like, "Oh, like, you know, didn't you tell him that I'm poor? Like, I can't." She's like, he had a new girlfriend at that point, so he went on
Right.
vacation with her, and then he was like, "I can't just like, you know, did you not tell Mathieu that like, I don't have any money and." I can't.
Oh God, I have to remember that fucking
He's
accent
French
is happening
Canadian.
all this time.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes him so much scummier.
It does. It's disgusting.
And
It's
she's
really
like, no,
gross.
I'm not going to tell him that you're supposed to, you can't make a plan and then not. So after that point, he decided it was too hard to keep a long distance relationship. We ended up becoming friends
No way. When?
a couple years before he died, like in 07.
Jesus.
He came to New York where I was living at the time, and I went up to Canada a couple times and rekindled.
What the fuck was that like?
Yeah.
How are you not talking about that from the gate? That
Was
should
he
have been the
still? Was he
opening.
still communal living?
Did he?
at that?
No,
Like, okay.
he was still like
He's a defunct.
crunchy. He was
Yeah.
still like
He's a defunct hippie, right?
he is defunct.
Yeah, he's just
well,
like-
and he wasn't. I think like he was completely coherent. He was a smart guy.
Right.
And he was he was charming too. He's good looking guy, good hair, good head of hair,
Right.
blue eyes.
Okay.
But he was one.
But he
of
was
those,
still like he was one of what?
Well, I was gonna say he was one of those. There was a class of like holdout hippies who never really came back to society.
Reassimilated.
Kind of like the Japanese soldiers that were fighting World War II in the Philippines into the 70s.
Oh, interesting.
Just like, dude, you
Okinawa.
lost. Like, you don't know that, man. Nixon's still out there somewhere. That's all I know. I don't know if that mattered as much in Montreal, but yeah.
I want to revisit that, but there's a whole other. There's so much like he.
Why not to derail,
after my mom, he met another woman. He met more than one, but like he met another woman who he had a child with unplanned, and
Yeah.
so he wasn't
I mean,
really
this
around
is-
for me. Or
Seems like the only thing he grows is children with his seed.
he has a lot of. And the two kids before me, wasn't really that present
Jesus
with either.
fucking Christ.
So then he had one after me who was like 6 years younger than me, and for that one he became like a traditional father. He decided to have a
Really?
stable income. He was
No way.
a translator, speechwriter.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Because he spoke a lot of languages. So he lived in one place in a suburb of Montreal. He made a consistent living because that girl's mother was like, you have to be a father. Like, so he was finally
Right.
was like, I'm going to be stable, which I think some of the older siblings kind of resented. Like, oh, I'm glad you're finally being stable.
yeah.
You know. So they
if,
saw,
If your grandma told me to settle down, that's all it took.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
it.
it's
you know,
Your grandma told me.
she kept
"No, this-
focusing on the fact there was no plumbing. It's stupid bitch. So anyway, so he became like a stable father for her and raised her. And
that's
then
okay.
And
wow.
this is all to say that later in life, when I met him,
Right.
I met him briefly when I was 19, but that didn't stay. Then
meeting your father that abandoned you at 19 turned out badly. You're
it didn't
saying.
turn out bad. He was willing. We did a visit. I met him and my older siblings and the younger one who was 13 at the time. I was 19, and then we were going to stay in touch. But I was in college, and every time he'd called to like have a conversation, I was about to like smoke pot or go out with my friends. I was like, I can't do this right
So
now.
weird. I'm trying to get into the thing of like a weird French hippie.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Allô, Mathieu." I'd get messages on the answer machine like, "Allô, Mathieu." This is the days of answer machines. You know, "Allô, Mathieu," is Jacques calling to see what's going on.
Of course, his name is fucking Jacques.
Yeah.
I love it.
Jesus.
Jack Fountain, Matt Fountain, and Jack Fountain.
Right.
So I let that die. I abandoned him.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
When you were
That'll
19, what was that?
It was actually kind of wonderful. It was kind of nice.
Oh,
like
okay.
we had a really warm weekend. I met everybody. We drank. We smoked cigarettes. Everyone was really sweet, and it was really like a nice weekend. And then I let it die after that. Then he wanted to get back in touch when I was like 07, whatever age I was. And then at that point, the 13-year-old had grown up, 20-something.
Right.
So both older siblings were married and had kids. And they're sort of like, aunt and uncles to this young girl.
Sure.
They're all living in Montreal or thereabouts. And so the older sister, she's married to a guy. They have 2 boys. The younger one starts having an affair with the older one's husband.
Whoa. Fuck yeah. I'm into it.
That is pinnacle hippie and French.
And
Yeah,
now,
right there.
and so the husband leaves
Right.
the older sister.
Did they do full family stuff?
And they're still, the younger one and him are still together, and they have a kid.
Wait. Did he have a kid with the older one before?
2.
Okay.
So, and not only- so he's also watched this girl grow up. And then you understand.
Dude, your
he's-
papa is jumping on opportunities.
so he's like, that's like, imagine being like,
kids
thank
is
God you're finally 21 or 18. I've been waiting for this day. You don't know how long. I think I do know how long. I
Jesus.
think you've been waiting 21 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know who I am in that conversation, but
You just strike when the
so,
iron's
but
hot,
he,
you know?
so then they started having an affair, and then they are together. So she is her,
You've
she's a stepmom to her nephews.
Right. Like her kids are simultaneously half
Cousins
siblings and first
half
cousins.
siblings. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, you come from like incestuous,
I
like
love
weird
this.
shit. I like it. That's hot.
Yeah, and it kind of burns the older ones, but a little bit more than
think?
it normally would, just because she also was the one that my father dedicated his time to. And yeah.
And stabilize the life.
So,
So
maybe,
literally
maybe
all-
you're better off if he doesn't.
Doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So literally all the major men in her life have preferred her sister over her.
Wow. Good point.
I got a little lost, but I'm getting it.
Can we get her on this show, please?
That's really
'Cause-
funny. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, how did that? Was there? Wait, no. Are we skipping over? Like, was there a fight? There had to be an uproar, or did it just immediately everyone just stop talking when things happened? Like, what?
Well, the 2 older ones don't talk to the younger one.
Right.
The father, the husband who left the older one, they still have to talk because, well, now the kids are older. They probably talk a lot
Sure.
less,
Wow.
but they did have to talk because the kids were young at the time. And her kids didn't want anything to do with the younger sister, but they would see her at their father's house. So it's kind of hard not to.
So when you learned all this, were you just you're just listening and watching, or
When he told me all this, I was like, well, if I'm going to get in touch, if I'm going to be like reconnect with everyone, I don't have any stake in any of this.
Right.
And none of you mean anything to me.
Yeah.
So
you can be the
I'll
free
just
messenger.
I just want to like get to know everyone.
Right.
But then it turned out that like the older ones were much more interested in like maintaining a relationship with me. And I started to feel bad, like sort of talking to her, but she wasn't, she and I, the younger one, that relationship just kind of died out. We only spoke a few times. She didn't speak very good English either. But
wow.
And then the older ones we've kept in touch. We'll email a few times a year, but it's not that close.
I gotcha.
So you're the only American in the bunch.
I think that's
Wow.
right. And
Happened. Your mom was nursing you, looking down at his little baby and saying, he's getting all his nutrients, but he's not getting liberty here. I gotta take him back.
I gotta take him back. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta take him out.
I'm sure she said that. I'm sure she said that.
Well, he's like, after I was born, my mom was telling me that he would say things like, you're breastfeeding him too much. You're always breastfeeding him, or like toys
You
were
breastfeed
around.
me.
Yeah.
You know that.
I think he probably was
upset.
upset. Like there wasn't a lot of attention on him at the time, and
Right. A lot of tension on him at the time. Honestly, dude, not a hero. I just want to say, you're like, there's a lot of tension on him. Like, yeah, there kind of should be. There
He
kinda
wasn't
should
father
be
material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he did a lot of it. He did a lot
He
of
does, yeah.
fathering.
I
for
have-
he
not-
had the material. But
Yeah.
Well, I have heard a thing from a certain type of father that have definitely complained and said when you have a child, if you're somebody who needs a lot of attention, you're kind of creating your number one competitor. Sure.
Right.
And that can lead to a lot of...
Well, Mike Birbiglia said in like some new special he had that I've heard him quoted another podcast, but like when he had a kid, he realized why men leave.
Yeah.
Because they have like their own thing, the mother and the child. You're not a part of it.
Right.
And you're not the center of, I don't know if this is what he means, but having a kid now, I realize like, you're not the center of your own life anymore.
Sure.
Some people are like, it's beautiful. Like, you have to take care of something. And you're not the center. I was like, that's actually the worst part is that I'm not the center who would want to be the center of your own life?
Sure. Right.
Oh, that's when parents start to give us like, oh, just having a kid is just
right.
Such a sacrifice. I really
a beautiful sacrifice.
You don't need to do it.
No, if I made anything, I'm like, can I get go to bed so I can leave the house and go to a mic or something?
Absolutely.
Am I getting hot on this mic?
Yeah, you're getting deliciously hot on it. You feel good. There you go. Loosen up. Just stretch the back. There it is. Rotate the neck. He's been under a lot of strain, this guy. Yeah. Just like his father, all right?
When I met him also, when we reconnected, and it came up when we were walking in the city, and he was like, I just didn't, he still didn't understand how you would. He had a beautiful voice, actually.
I'm sure he did. For all the crushing that he did, he had to be like, hey, like this, what that is, not too. I have to say.
He still didn't understand like how you could have a long distance relationship. I was like, well, it's not going to be an ideal one, but it's either 0 or it's above 0.
Right.
So you fucking choose, motherfucker. He's like, I think I did. I was like, I think you did too. I don't know.
I love this. I mean, it's
that's
such
that story.
Tragedy with. I mean, it's so apart from you in the way that it happened. It's just kind of like this entire other world.
It is alien to me.
Yeah. You really didn't have a.
I feel very American Jewish,
right?
Like New Yorky kind of person. So that's what
but you
my
had
identity
this
kind of
ridiculous side quest to your identity in your background. Because that's the thing. Having known you for a few years now, never would have assumed any of that.
Yeah. Well, why would you?
At any point.
I don't use Fontaine in my name anywhere, and I can't speak French. Un peu, but
what the fuck did you?
Yeah,
a little.
I'm poor too. What are you gonna?
No, un peu.
I don't like the French language.
Yeah,
I know I will have to try to speak it.
I want to learn. I'm going to learn it someday. But anyway, yeah. Wait, I was going to say something.
What you were talking about?
Oh, but I was going to say. So it didn't seem like it had any effect on me because we were saying this earlier. However. So I went through a whole life like people be like, what was that like? You didn't have a father, you cared? You really, you have problems? And I was like, no, it didn't. I don't have any concept of a father. Like it's not a part of my life.
Right.
I felt no lack of love, so I didn't feel like there's something missing. Mm-hmm. Unlike my brother, who like feels like the hole in his life, and he's canonized the idea of his father and everything. And so, however, I found out later in life, I got into relationships. I think there is something, this is interesting to me. This isn't funny, but this is interesting to me that I wonder, I've started to like theorize that like there is a nature thing to being born a human, and there might be like a natural expectation of having a father and a mother. So even if your father isn't with you, and I did have a conscious knowledge that like there's a man who is quote unquote my father, not quote unquote, he is my father. There's someone out there who, the name of my father, who has chosen not to see me.
You might even say he is a faux pas.
Oh, hey,
thank you.
That's a good one. That's awesome.
At Jesse Dram, at Magic Misery Tour.
That's a great pun.
He's so excited for it.
That's amazing.
I can't remember what it means
close
in French.
on that.
Okay, wrap it up. There you go.
I wish I'd thought of it.
it.
Really good one. Let's drink to that.
Not you. There you go. Water.
I said it.
No, I know. Not you. Don't drink. I don't care.
What I'm getting at is, I think, despite, even though I said I never felt like any lack or felt like abandoned or anything like that. When I got into like romantic relationships, I think I do have some internalized thing in me that is
so you're
deep
pitching
buried.
Lizard brain, like biological.
I think there might be something.
Daddy is
if you don't have part of your parental unit, there might be some internal, just unconscious internalization that you don't have any control of. And if there is a conscious, if you do know that someone has made a deliberate choice not to be around you, that does go in you. Because I had a girlfriend before I was married. I had one only. No, I had one girlfriend. I had a girlfriend before I was married who we were having a breakup fight. We didn't end up breaking up, but I was trying to break up with her.
Oh.
And she, out of nowhere, just said like,
I want to break up.
"Oh, you
no,
don't
you don't
think you deserve to be loved?" And we weren't on this topic at all.
Right.
I was like telling her like what's wrong with her,
Right.
which is a specialty of mine.
It is.
And out of the blue, she says like, "You don't," and I just started like floodgating crying.
Oh, wow.
Like not kind of crying where you're like, I couldn't stop it if I wanted to. You know, like I just was like
broke apart.
bro. The dam was.
Please tell me you totally broke apart and then finally came to like.
I still think we're
I
not.
still don't think we're right for each other.
Get the fuck out.
No, we stayed together a little longer. But when that shit started to happen, I was like, oh, there might be something going on. There might be an effect in place
I think
that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, I don't think it's because I think in the study, like the things I've read and having to deal with this, I don't think that. I think you hit on the head with like the second thing. I don't think it's biological. As soon as you realize that someone who was in the process, who made you or was involved with that, it wasn't a decision that they really liked,
Right.
possibly. Then I get that. That makes sense. I don't think like especially with like lesbian couples or anybody who's gay as a kid, if there's just like two
I see
family
where you're going.
unions, if there's just
You're
two
playing the
people,
woke card.
you have another. I'm not playing a woke.
Well, you are playing a woke.
Fucking damn it, dude! I hate talking fucking.
Well, you're
psychology
you're
with
representing.
dum-dums.
You're trying to represent.
I'm not trying to even
you're
represent.
speaking for
I'm talking about
same-sex couples.
when you talked about just a biological need. I'm trying to give the example. Of
I think he's talking with lesbian couples. Obviously, for them to get pregnant, it's such a deliberate act,
Yeah.
as opposed
And you're
to
saying that
something
the kid-
was done accidentally.
yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm using that as an example of the obvious, like, we definitely wanted to have you.
Right.
Oh,
like,
right.
we super wanted to have you. We had to have you in this way. You know what I mean? I'm using that as an example where, I mean, obviously everything falls back from that. If it's a heterosexual couple, and then you'd be like, well, it happened, and then we loved you. It wasn't
Right.
planned, but we loved you. You know.
Yeah, probably those
But when
kids are really.
That's what
loved.
I'm saying. All those gray
I
areas.
think Mark Norman has a bit about that too.
Oh yeah. When all those gray areas and things, then you have situations that we have found ourselves in where we're just like, Dad wasn't great, and he just kind of went. And I get that being something that's kind of in your brain more than just if you didn't grow up and didn't know your father at all. If your mom was like you never saw him at all, I would think it'd be interesting to your thoughts on like, oh
Right.
no, I didn't even. When you said you didn't have a concept of father, now we're kind of learning that's not really true. You had a little moment there. Or you contradicted yourself. You're like, I didn't have any really concept of a father. And then
Well,
you're
I was
like,
I was like
recently.
5.
Right.
I was 5 when we stopped, and even the communication we had up until 5 was so sparse that
Right.
like it wasn't like I knew him or I was like that's my father or I called him dad or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It was
I
odd.
get you.
It was like a stranger
yeah.
coming to visit.
You didn't have
Like
any of that
Jack's
lionization that a lot of guys make of their dads. It's like, and particularly, like I have a nephew right now who his dad is just fucking druggy and out of his life, and it's really fucked him up a lot because he was a good enough dad for enough time that he's still like, but that's my fucking dad, and he was
Right.
here, and now he's not around, and it must be your fault or it must be my fault because he's awesome. That's really it. He was never around enough for you to be like, my dad is awesome. Instead, he was just like, he's a dude, I guess.
Right?
Maybe. I don't know. Am I hitting on anything?
Wait, is that your nephew talking or?
Well, this is my nephew talking, but I'm trying to put this in contrast to you, as opposed to you never had that close period.
All three of us have not connected. Only the faux pas thing has really nailed. I think none of us have connected. I think in this podcast at all. So you are crushing it today.
I just sit back and fucking pick them off.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
all.
that's your goal. I find that contradiction kind of very relevant. But I mean, have you given this more thought now? Then we have to get off this fucking topic because I'm gonna kill myself. But I mean, especially who just had a kid, you're like, oh, does that makes sense to me now? I kind of You almost broke me up there. You almost really hit a thing of like he didn't want to be around, or by circumstances of like he had kids and then just didn't care enough to be around for the progeny. Is that what you were really hitting on? I think that resonates with me. I get that.
I think I think he just had his own. I think he was just concerned with his life more than his children's
Selfish.
lives. Yeah, he's selfish. He's self-centered. In sort of like a
Self-centered people never wear condoms, and that's a real bummer.
It makes total sense. I mean, you can't feel shit.
Right.
So
he's not like self-centered in the way like I think there's. Well, no, he's just a good old classic case of self-centered. I think he's just like has kids, and then he's not that concerned with being around them. Or
results from it. Yeah.
yeah. I think he's more concerned with doing his own thing and being given all the agency that he needs to do whatever he wants at any moment.
Single mom though. How the fuck was your mom dealing with all this? Was your mom like an out and out crazy person?
did you have a stepdad at any point in this?
No, never.
A couple of boyfriends in the mix, but no, she stopped dating after a while. Yeah. No stepdads. My mom was just a very hard worker.
Right.
Very self-confident.
Did you get hit? Did she hit you?
I did not get hit.
What? Ew.
No.
That's so weird.
She's just.
She really didn't have to hit you? That's serious? Like you were just a good kid? She didn't have to.
You were expecting me to be hit?
Single mom? Yeah. To get a couple of hits. Yeah. I mean, a couple of pops. What are you
she
talking
didn't believe
about?
in that.
That's cool. I mean, that's great. I'm not. That's whatever. That's.
I was a
great
fairly
for
good
you.
kid too. I didn't really
Yeah.
do anything. I mean, you can hit any kid, I guess, for anything. But no,
sure. I mean, that's one of my.
You don't
favorite
really need an
things,
excuse, but
no, I encourage it if anything. But
it's funny now that I have a kid. When I found out I was having a boy, the thing that popped into my head was like,
Ooh, I'm gonna get to hit him.
well, issues of masculinity, like I don't feel like manly or like a I don't even know if I technically am a man. I suppose technically I am, but
pretty sure technically you are.
Technically I are. Technically I are.
Technically you are.
But I was like thinking about like, you know, if he gets into like fights or something at school, or some other kid is having a problem, I gotta go talk to the father. I was thinking of all that kind of shit, like racing ahead, because I was never like. I'm not a fighter, and
God damn it,
I stayed
Dan,
away.
watch your kids. God damn it.
Yeah.
We're gonna sit down and talk about this like reasonable adults. I'll call you on Friday.
But my friend was like, so that was like what popped in my head was like having to like deal with like any kind of like, you know, fighting or like
Sure.
issues like issues of masculinity, like shit like that. My friend was like, do you think
vagina?
that is your fear like that you're gonna walk out on your family, like in your wife and child? I was like your father did, and I was like, I wasn't thinking about it, but
Now that you mention it,
I don't know why I mentioned, but I don't see myself doing that.
Yeah.
I do. I often wonder about. I think one of the big things, a very early like divider of you're this person or that person, really comes down to whether your parents told you to punch back or go tell an adult if something like that happened.
I'm going to tell an adult.
My family
Culture.
My family very much told me like, you know,
Punch
someone
back.
hits you first, you absolutely punch them back. But I was so emotionally devastated that it got to that point that usually when I did punch back, I was weeping uncontrollably. Winning, but weeping.
Well, this is what I've talked about. I was a cry fighter which is a type of Star Wars paraphernalia. I was a cry fighter early on.
Yeah. They can take down the Mad
overly
Walkers like
emotional.
nobody's business.
I would cry and beat the shit out of you
While you're crying.
Terrifying. It's very terrifying. It's a good tactic.
That is
It's a
frightening.
tactic I use to this day.
I remember like
use it to this day.
literally seeing red.
Literally.
Okay. Like no, like your
really?
vision like fucking turns
wow.
almost. Yeah.
You don't want to
So
be
it's
doing it,
still
but you can't help yourself.
figuratively. It doesn't actually.
Did you get into a lot of fights?
I honestly got into my most fights
Trash.
in high school. The most fights I ever got in was when they put me on Paxil for depression.
Yeah.
And I think literally what it did is I think it killed the anxiety, so I didn't have any of that.
Made room for the anger.
Yeah, well, no, it's you know what it is that so much of that
With
fighting
Paxil,
stuff.
we move the anxiety aside
and
let
make
that
room for the anger.
Like if you're
Paxil.
not, if you're
Make
not,
room for your anger today.
if you're not accustomed to violence, it's a real like threshold you need it, particularly if it's like a school thing where it's like if it's a physical thing, it's not like somebody's actively punching me right now, it's that guy shoved me and said something mean.
Sure.
So
if you did get shoved, and so you take that as a start, like
It would be, but it usually wouldn't end in a fight. But it would be that like I am so angry, and usually it was some older fucking wigger kid with no dad being like, "The fuck you gonna do about it, you fat pussy?" And it's like, I need to do this, but you need to.
Yeah, I got a pussy.
Over.
So what, motherfucker?
Yeah. Matt wades into it.
But I feel like when I was on the Paxil, what I was really that bar that you're crossing over really is anxiety, and when you're on an anti-anxiety. Like I would my first thing would just be go straight to violence.
What would
You have a lot of anger inside you?
No, it wasn't. You know what the funny thing was? They sent me to anger management a few times, and every time they were like, no, he's actually fully in control of his anger. He is actively making the choice that, no, this is the best thing to do in this situation right now.
Uh-huh.
And
Interesting.
it was, punching.
Choices.
Punching. Oh, God.
If you just tuned in, we're listening to
definitely-
Choices.
Choices. This is the choice.
I was definitely
podcast.
told to
I'm
go
glad you chose us.
find. Sorry for talking over you, bud. I was definitely told to go find an adult. I was also told to go find an adult.
I don't remember anyone actually saying it to me, but I
got
definitely came from that.
Not a
Well,
specific,
no,
but I
definitely. My dad was a fighter.
No, your
And
dad
I
was
remember being
growing.
young, feeling like I let my dad down
the way
because
that
I
his-
considered the consequences before throwing fists at people.
I would be like, don't fucking start with me. I will leave you in 2 seconds. I will leave this. You're not going to know. You're not going to feel it immediately. It's an abandonment effect. You're going to feel it later.
This is a car ride home. You're gonna really get this. All right.
Why didn't he want to
You're
fight
gonna
with
get
me?
this
He
slow burn.
doesn't think I'm good enough to fight with.
I don't want to get into identity shit, but when you talked about growing up like New York Jew, do you feel more you felt more New York Jew than anything? You felt
Yeah.
New York Jew?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All my friends were Jewish.
Right.
I went to temple. I had
Well, you
bar
guys-
mitzvah.
Yeah. Whole nine. Or whatever your people consider nines. I don't know what. You guys do numbers different? I never
We
understand.
spin a dreidel,
I love
and we
your-
have 4 sides.
4 sides? 4 sides. Nice. And I don't want to joke.
Yeah, I
Because
feel New York Jewish.
So with fight in high school, though, you had fights in high school as well to get back up? No fights in high school.
I would
sex
run
stuff in
if
high school.
anyone had a problem
I want to
with
get
it.
sex stuff in high school.
I freeze.
You freeze.
Yeah, I get paralyzed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I freeze up. If you have a problem with me, I had an early joke in my stand-up. One of my opener
Yeah,
when I
do
first
it.
started stand-up was, I just want to let you know a little bit about me. If you have a problem with me or some kind of conflict with me, I'm just going to let you know it's cool. We're good. Don't worry about it. And then I
was your opener?
I didn't do the joke yet.
Sorry, I didn't know it's a long bill. Okay.
It's a long opener.
It's a little bit long. I thought that was the I thought
Oh, hop ahead, Neil Wood.
I hop ahead quickly.
It's not like you're gonna bring the house down. And I would just say
sorry.
it's a
Shut up
kindling.
and
It's a
just do it. I
kindling joke, you know. And I'd be like, and then I would say, I would just take the high road, and I'd quietly resent you for the rest of my life.
Nice.
That
Okay.
was my little.
I got you. No,
But if someone would start I got pushed sometimes, and I just freeze. I just I can't. I don't even think I could bring myself to punch someone. Honestly.
You could. Every human being.
I think
is
we should
capable
end
of
this
violence.
podcast with you
Fighting.
punching Neil in the face.
And I would deserve it. And I get that. I get that for being on camera, apparently, and having a nice Saturday to myself and inviting people into my home. You know, I love you. I do love you.
We should have been
I cannot
roommates.
wait to not be
I
on
would
this
have. I would have
podcast.
thrown this podcast away to be roommates again.
Yes, let's do that.
Wow,
that's true.
that's sweet.
I need a lot
There's
of
still
things
time.
to change.
Let's
about
get a
your
couple's
overall
house. You and your girl, and me and my girl. We'll get a house together,
Aye.
and the bunnies around. Think of all the space we'll be able to afford.
God.
Have you learned nothing from my father's life?
Have you?
I mean, where were you in the first half?
I mean,
of
let's
the
be
podcast?
honest. I'm gonna fuck Barry. I'm kidding.
I think you're all gonna
That
fuck
was a
each other.
joke. That was a joke. Calm down. I just meant for that joke. Jesus Christ.
I don't
dude.
know.
You tensed up. That was. I was like. You were like. Hey.
I mean,
no laughing
I'm already.
from my producer.
Get a farm.
Get a farm.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll just have a. I know they have thruples. We could be a.
What's a
quadruple?
thruple? That's fun to say.
Yeah, it is a fun word.
That thruple is amazing. I love, you're perfect a ton. I love it.
Thruple also sounds like some kind of Jewish snack. that I wasn't
Yes, it
aware of.
does. We're gonna go down and have a thruple.
thruple.
Have a thruple. Have a couple thruples. We talk a little coffee.
You have a thruple. You have some soup.
We're racist. I want to know though, high school, like when did your sexual career begin, dude? I'm serious.
When
This
did
is
I start
the thing
making
of
money?
I wanted to no, what? Start making money? Yeah. When did you start selling your body for money?
Is
What
this
I want.
are we in the second part?
The way it took us this long, and finally getting.
I lost my
give
virginity
me-
at 15
Yes, early adopter
to a Jewish
early
girl
adopter
on a
What?
Jewish retreat weekend.
See,
I
We've
feel
had
like
this-
the Jews are big.
Got a ooh
retreat
from the
people.
producer.
I feel like Jews are big.
I think I'm moving into this house with you guys.
There you go. Woo! I feel like Jews are big retreat people, particularly with their kids, and that's
Catholics
why a lot
very
of
big into
Well, we've
retreats.
had a lot of
I
we
never
get kicked
liked
out everywhere, so we
there
have to
you
leave.
go. There you go. By the way,
It's
listen.
not so much retreating;
Things
it's
are- things are-
leaving.
Right, we're retreating from Syria.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Things are calm now. We're going to send you and all the other Jew kids out into the woods for a few weeks, just because you never know when we're going to have to. So,
Yeah, try to finish
Right.
Jewish on that.
You guys need
Jew
practice
kids.
leaving.
yeah.
Yeah, right. You okay? I'm just no. Again, you lost your virginity. It's
Yeah, I lost my
15.
virginity at 15.
Now, was this girl? Was this like a romantic thing, or
we
was
were
this
we were
just a-
boyfriend girlfriend.
for how long?
3 months.
What a slut! Awesome.
What would it-
She had sex
Jesus
once before.
Christ.
And I'm vindicated.
Stop. What? Shut the fuck up with your Puritan
She
nonsense.
actually was known as a little bit.
The one time she had sex before that?
She was promiscuous.
Listen.
No, listen. You
What is
remember back in
going
that
on?
day where
What
you're
is
like,
happening?
She wasn't actually, but in that day,
Dang,
she
if
was
you're
known.
talking about,
right.
early 40s.
Well, yeah, I'm talking
from
about
She had a
when they were-
reputation.
Early
But also,
40s.
you remember when
they
you're
were
like-
growing up. We need
But
to
she was
stop
a
talking
sweet
about
girl.
Sorry. She was a sweet girl. Right. I just hate the promiscuous bullshit. Like, come on. You were trying to get laid.
But you remember when you
know.
were like 13 and then like you wait a year and then you get a hand job. At 15, 3 months into sex, that's pretty quick.
I like the idea of 13 and then you wait a year to get a hand job.
Yes.
Like you
I'm
were
on the
like, I
list.
am promised. Once Julie gets around to me, I'm going to have a good time. Like, what?
Actually, didn't get any. I didn't do anything.
Right.
All the
You
way up
went
to sex.
right to
I went
sex.
straight to sex. I hadn't felt boobs
Holy shit.
before sex.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me
I did
everything.
everything at once.
Got
Tell
the
me
fucking.
everything. I still
you
haven't
got the
felt
I had
games.
with like I was like one of those bands. So I was
Oh, yeah, dude. You're just juggling plates up
Yeah.
there. Just going. Can't figure it out.
yeah,
How
it was
awkward. It was great. It went well, or how
the
bad?
first time or in
Yeah.
general.
No. I don't even know how to respond to
General,
that.
if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to.
Don't do your French nonsense to me. Because remember, it's not real
En
French. It's
général.
French. It's French Canadian, which is so disgusting. It's real gross.
Did you have sex with her the first time and your DNA kicked in? You'd be like, I really need to go for a walk for some reason. I don't know what it
I
is.
don't know what it is. I'm
I'm
going to go on a
leaving.
pilgrimage. I've never used the word pilgrimage before, but I'm going to go on a pilgrimage.
You're gonna need a boat.
Pontoon. Just saying pontoon out loud.
Catamaran would
Yeah,
work
yeah.
best, I think.
So I mean, on a retreat, and she's known as a promiscuous lady.
But it's
for
also
some reason.
his girlfriend.
She was putting the pressure on on me.
I can understand that because you've never done anything, so you
Yeah.
might be a little hesitant. She's like, "Yeah, I haven't felt boobs yet, dude. Can we take this slow?" And she's
But
like,
yeah,
"Take
yeah,
off
she
your
didn't even
pants."
give you that before.
I had that.
Oh, okay. You
I
had
did-
that with her.
With her, yeah. With
Until her,
Okay.
you had nothing, and then
did some fingering.
some light fingering.
Some light
You just
Just
I
a
love
nosh.
if you did this hand move again. You're just like light fingering. I'm like, wow, okay, wow, that's an extensive fingering.
Yeah, I
No,
did
I
some light
like-
fingering,
Instead of fingering, I literally inserted a flashlight. That's what happened.
some
Light
penis
fingering.
touching, and
Touched her penis. That's cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
she was trans, and
That's good. That's great.
and
I know you're remembering it was a long time ago.
yeah, and then we had the sex, and then we did it at some girl's house in Scarsdale.
Wow, that's Jewish. Okay.
Yeah, it was everything about it was Jewish.
What happened to this retreat? What do you
The house
mean? I
was
thought-
Jewish. The sheets were Jewish.
thought-
The girl was Jewish. Everything was
thought
The
you
Jewish.
were
hole
on
in the
retreat.
sheet was Jewish.
Yeah, everything was Jewish.
Isn't that Mormon?
No, that's
No, it's
Is
an
that
old.
Jewish?
It's an old.
I think it's a
Okay.
myth too.
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
is.
think that I thought that was.
But,
well, I think it's in the.
And then we did it a lot thereafter. And then I didn't have
Hell
sex
yeah.
again until freshman year of college.
Oh, that's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you know what happens is that if you have sex early,
You want
it
to
gets
go-
around.
Right.
Everyone finds out somehow.
especially
you know,
15. Obviously,
everyone's like, "I know what you've been doing." You're like,
Right.
"All right, well, it's because someone told you."
Say, I was
not a mystery.
I was the first of my friends to finger a girl. I was 13, but then I
What a
literally
trophy not to have.
Fingers first.
fingers first, and then I literally got nothing until I was 17, and then I finally got a blowjob, and then that girl died 6 months later.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I think I've heard you talk
Huzzah!
about that. Have you ever
I'm the
talked
only
about
one
that?
that
Half a plat.
She died because of your blowjob? Or?
Yeah, it was. It's a time bomb.
He has what they known as in the medical community as alien jizz, and if you've ever watched the movie Alien,
It ate,
Unfortunately,
ate its
it
way
just-
out of her chest.
it just
Rest
it
in
just
peace,
goes
Jessica.
Why do I find that funny?
he's got alien blood, sperm, which is a problem.
I think that probably happens a lot where like you go really hard like in
Alien
high
sperm?
school. No, like something happens and you're like, this is great, I'm on a roll, and then it just
Yeah.
stops. And you're like, I gotta get can I just get to
Well-
college, please?
Well, because I mean, I something I haven't talked about before, but I've always loved this thing is like when the popular kids, mainly some of the people playing football, like when they start fucking, it's very interesting to see how the dynamic changes in the classroom, especially when a small school like ours, like kids just went to Catholic school,
They
my
start
whole life.
touching girls from behind.
Sure, well, they go with that, but then also you understand that it becomes very immediate who has, unfortunately, this whole ego built around them. Maybe a giant jack dude, and then unfortunately, we all just found out he's got a tiny dick, and it's hysterical to me because that happened like multiple times. It was like, yeah, you guys started fucking. They're like, yeah, dude, out fucking, we're fucking,
right.
and then they're just like, yeah. He's got a tiny dick. And so this whole time, his ego has just been the only reason he's popular. It's
I
like,
was
right.
so afraid, not that I have a tiny dick, but I was so afraid of
Right.
fooling around with anyone at school, specifically
That
for
makes
that
sense.
Because
Yeah.
I would hear about other guys' dicks.
Right.
I was like, well, if I'm hearing about their dicks,
Dick.
Yeah.
someone's going to hear about my dick.
My dick's getting out there. It's making the rounds.
Yeah, it's
you
gonna
know?
get out there, and I was like, I don't need that.
climbing the charts.
So I ended up fooling around with a lot of Jewish girls who went to other schools, not by choice so much,
farm
but
out
just
your-
default because
You hooked up with Hasidic girls who weren't allowed to leave their bedrooms.
Hasidim,
Right.
yeah,
Is that how you say it?
plural, Hasidim.
I see them.
So
I'm learning all this Jew.
yeah,
This Jew.
but I
shit.
missed a lot of opportunities because of that fear too.
Right.
And it's with me still. It's with us in this room right now.
15, and then wasn't until college.
There were girls that liked me that I
Right.
could have done something with
That you could have made.
that I didn't make the move on out of fear.
It's like, listen,
Fear of what?
you're really, really nice. I don't want you talking about my dick to other people.
Oh, just
That
the dick thing?
one was like I had a girlfriend, but like we weren't even together, and like I had another. I don't know. It's just shit. I just should have like gone. I should have been less.
Yeah, you should have been more assertive.
Fearful, yeah.
Sounds like.
That's what I want my. How I want my son to be. I want to raise a son who like.
Understands what a relationship is and knows the boundaries of it. It sounds like you were just like, kind of like,
I
I'm
want him
in a
to feel
thing,
like-
but we didn't ever touch.
Go up to like whoever he thinks is the prettiest girl in the room and not be afraid to talk to her.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
Oh, I could have used that. My dad was very much the fuck's your problem? Just go talk to her. Like,
Right.
What? Why? Like
You haven't
shouldn't
done what
fucking
you were
care.
supposed to do up until this point.
Yeah, Jesse's-
to make me feel that way.
Jesse's always
Exactly.
like, I didn't finish her song yet.
No,
He'd
that
be
happened.
writing a
That
song
happened.
for
It was
her.
terrible.
Yes, yeah.
First song I ever wrote was for a girl.
That was funnier in my head, and it didn't come out.
Old Trudy.
Ugh. Oh, you didn't put her name in it, did you?
I think it was just
Was this
called
1936 or
This
During
was,
the
This was
Depression.
the year of our Lord 2002.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
you know in 2002? How old were you?
2002. I
Oh, we don't
was
have to do this.
33 now.
15. I was 15.
I was
Really breaking
27, 28. Anyway,
Did you? What was your first heartbreak?
it was.
When the girl you were having fun sex with,
Oh, yeah,
that ended. That was probably
I was
sad.
actually in love with a friend of mine from 8th grade till about 26.
Oh wow!
So
Okay.
even though I had
Jewish girl,
girlfriends, she's also Jewish, but I was like,
You keep using
she's also
technically.
Jewish. Like it's impressive.
Technically, she's Jewish.
She's
Guys,
also. I don't want to brag,
not
but
to brag.
she's also Jewish. Yeah. Yeah, she's Jewish.
I'm sorry for you. Or I don't know.
Yeah, I had a friend. She's still my friend, actually. We're best friends. She's one of my best friends. But we became very close in 8th grade and through high school and college. And I was in love with her for a long time. And she was first heart. She didn't feel the same weight about me. And
So you went up and out? You were like, hey, I want to do
at a
this.
certain, I was very open that I liked her. And then I just had to like sort of put those feelings under a rug.
Right.
And then we just were very close. It was one of those things where you're like, it was maddening because you're like, how are you not? I didn't believe her.
Right.
Oh,
How are you not into me?
I had this with a girl in my early 20s, and it was to the point where, like, all my friends, all her friends, they're like, seems she's into you. Her fucking brother, like, I think she's into you.
Right.
And she's just like, no, not.
Were you
not-
like best friends at the time?
We were extremely close.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's not physically attracted to you. I hate to say that, but I have
Oh,
learned
no,
that through terrible stuff.
that's exactly what it was. She just
was
wasn't
not
physically attracted.
Did you ever
attracted.
hook up with her?
Never. And you know what's fucked up? I've had a few of these, like, you know, unrequited loves. Pretty much all of them I've at least made out with at some point. Like, something happened. This is the one that, like, nothing.
I bet there's
ever.
something there. It's impossible for there not to be anything there.
No, but what? Come on.
I don't know.
What do you mean? It doesn't cross the boundary over into physicality. That's
Well,
nothing wrong with
no,
that.
it should be mentioned that this girl I was crazy about was also a virgin until she was 25. So there
right,
might have been
so there's
something happening there.
Yeah.
Well, one, I mean, she's not gonna. If she's not 100% sure on how hot you are, she's not gonna blow that poon up. If she's
Right.
she's like, I'm not gonna risk my virginity on just someone.
But
I'm
if
like
she's
halfway through, I'm
abstaining
like,
from sex for that
ew.
long, then she doesn't have a problem with like abstention in general. So
Right.
she has willpower.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that there's probably something that was going on. I don't. I just don't. I feel like that if you're that when a man and a woman or a woman and a woman or two people become that close and you're best friends, and
No,
there's something
just
going on.
just a man and a woman. Continue.
Then I just don't buy it. And I never buy it. And it was like fucking, I was tortured. Like it ruined my life.
really?
It ruined
Yep.
my life. I would go through phases where I was like, I can't even talk to you.
Oh no, I did
Don't
that.
look at
I
me.
literally told her
Yeah.
like I can't talk to you for a while. I'm in love with you. I'm sorry. I'm
that's what I
sorry.
did.
It's driving me nuts. I gotta go away.
I
from
moved
you.
across the country. Not specifically to get away from her, but it was part of it.
It'd be easier.
Yeah.
It's definitely easier.
Yeah.
And then, but to make matters, to compound it, I was like, I'm moving across the country. I don't want to talk to you. Don't call me. Don't get in touch with me. I need to like not, because then I was like graduated college. It had been going on for so long. I was like, I got to like get this out of my system.
Right.
You don't want to be with me? Fine. But like, I can't do this anymore. And so I moved, and then she just called me every single day.
Holy
that ain't right.
shit.
That's not cool. That's not cool.
Until we eventually got into these fights, like I would end up being mean to her. I was like, "Get out of here!" And then we'd like stop talking for a while, and then we'd like regret, and then we ended up dating for a month, and then
Really?
and as soon as we had sex,
You knew it was
It
bad.
all went away.
it didn't like all go away, but I was like, because we tried dating for a month, I was like, oh, you know what, this doesn't work for me. It didn't work for her. It didn't work for her either. But it was like, if we had just done this.
She threw you a bone.
Yep.
And after
her a
years,
bone.
she's like, let's just, good for you.
Well, hold on, we're talking 8th grade to 26. We're talking literally like 12 years.
Yes. It was torture.
Dick
I was
slave.
tortured.
Dude, you weren't tortured. Eventually, she was just like,
I
no,
was
maybe
tortured.
this does
No, because
work.
when you
And
have
then
a
both-
reality that is so strong, like you're just like what if I told you like, I don't know. Brit's not here right now. No, nothing about your relationship. Just like, I'm just trying to tell you.
Use another example.
Sasha. We're talking about Sasha here.
It wasn't even going to be about a relationship. I just wanted to be like, when your reality is so strong and there's someone that's like, no, that's not actually your reality. You go fucking nuts.
Sure.
You feel schizophrenic or
No,
something.
I get
you know,
it.
like
when you said you didn't believe her, that resonated. I definitely had that experience. Not for that amount of time. And also, we never actually contemplated. I was just like, everything lines up here.
Yeah.
And then I realized later, it's like, yeah, she didn't find me attractive. And I think that's the biggest.
Well, also that's part of it is you also don't want to accept it to a certain degree because then you feel like a fucking idiot because you're like, well, how could it not be this way? But the way it could not be this way is you were there with like little fucking hearts coming off them and they're
Right.
there cleaning their fucking nails. Like, you want to
right.
get pizza?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
down for pizza.
Yeah.
but it
you're
wasn't
just
even
like,
like that.
do you
in
remember
my
the day
situation.
you suggested pizza? I'll never
You're
forget.
talking about the way, we get wrapped up in that kind of. Yeah, I've definitely been smitten and just been like, I think she's being cold, and then they give you the slightest bit of something, like she says pizza, and you're like, I was just thinking about pizza, and then you're just like, oh my god, I'm melting inside.
Exactly.
It sounds like yours was way longer, and you guys were like, it feels like
Did you
we're
ever
friends.
see?
And
It was kind of similar to like, although we didn't kill anyone, but what's that movie where the two
Bonnie and
English
Clyde.
girls become our best friends and they kill
Heavenly
heavenly creatures?
Okay.
It was kind of like that. Like we were so close that like we were like overlapping.
I got you.
And mentally, so that's where it was like, if I just like a girl and she doesn't like me, then I'm like, all right, I'm not going to go crazy about it. Like, you don't like me, whatever, it's fine.
Sure.
But this was like, we were so close.
Literally, the parameters of who you are like
blending.
blurring into each other.
Exactly.
And
yeah. Maybe
but,
not quite heavenly creatures, but you know.
But then you had sex and you were both like, eh.
Then we had
it
sex.
Tell me about that.
She also was like trying. She's like, well, I just want to treat this like a relationship I would with any relationship. So I want to start like slow and like. I was like, all right, but we do know each other,
right?
It's not like we just went on a first date and had sex. So she was like trying to
take off them pants.
It just wasn't. We weren't meant to be together, and.
She was trying to tell you
tried,
that the whole time. I love the other perspective. She's like, I've been trying to tell you this whole time, we shouldn't fucking be together. I know you've been going through agony, but she's like, it's not gonna work. And then she throws you. She's just like, right? And then she's riding your dick, and she's just like, I told you, this is bad. This is not good. It won't work. And then I feel like I would just do a victory
but I think
dance
there have been
around
times
you after I fucked you.
I think there have been times since then where she also. This is when I have trauma, I go into 33. I go into slow. Where she also felt that too. What if that was my trauma? All right. No, I think she's also felt like questioned whether we're supposed to be together many times.
Sure.
I'm sure she has.
No. Well, with that, I would say after
she's now married, and
that would make sense. Actually, the way it happened with you, that makes sense to me. I don't think our experience is probably different. I don't think the young lady who I did meet. I think she was just like, can't do it. Like, I just can't.
Well, that was also, you met her after that had already peaked and
yeah,
crested.
she liked me.
She did. And I got to be
honest. I was like,
ew,
dude, I did not like her.
And then you liked her more later than she did initially.
Well, I did hear that she liked me, and I was like, that's fine, but she's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, well, now here was the funny thing was she was like, I think I have a little crush on your friend Neil.
Yeah.
And I had that immediate, like, oh, well, as a friend of both of you, I will make that happen, but I was already picturing her like if they are, because we were living in the same place, if they're having sex in the same room and I hear it, that is absolutely a cry masturbate.
Yeah,
just like that.
Am I allowed to listen in while you guys do it?
But the funny thing was, I remember she had like a crush on him, etc., and he's like, I'm not interested. Yeah. And then other stuff happened, and I think like 8 months later, we just all ended up hanging out again. And I remember afterwards, he was like, where the fuck was that girl the night I met her? She was actually really cool.
She was weird the first time we met. She like didn't talk. And I was like, which if it's just like, I guess she might have liked me that much, but that's also scary. Like I was also like, wait, you think like I'm she was acting very strange. She didn't talk a lot. She was just kind of leering. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this lady?
She's nervous.
And that, it also tells me a lot about how someone acts. And the next time I saw her, she was much cooler. But I'm like, yeah, but that terrifies me that you are that crazy out of the gate where you're like, I'm enamored or something. I'm like, you're crazy.
Well, when you like someone, you're afraid to like show your real personality if they don't like you.
Yeah, but we were not fucking teenagers, bro.
But
we were older.
Here's your 20s, you're a teenager.
This is a specific thing about her, and I've seen this with other women. I've seen this. I've heard about this. Maybe you can confirm or deny.
Boobs.
Confirm.
No. Literally, it's that. A lot of girls who develop late.
Oh, sure.
What happens is they're so behind the curve on everything. They never had like the girl who developed at 13 and suddenly had all this unwanted attention.
Yeah.
She had to learn how to deftly push away or approach. She never had that approach because by the time she got a little developed, she's this weird fucking child woman, and there's girls who have been blowing people for a few years, so nobody bothered with her. So she never. She really. When she had crushes on guys, she was more like a nerdy guy with a crush on a girl. Right. The fucking circuitry got rewired.
Right.
So
yeah, I think that happens on the
happened.
male side too.
Yeah.
Guys who hit puberty really early, who are like, there's only a few guys in like 7th grade who have the goods to like hook up with a girl, you know?
Exactly.
And they get a lot of attention too, because the girls are like, you're the only one who has a penis.
Yeah. Well, it's also, you're all developing, but only so many people are like, you're hitting, it's alpha in the purest sense, because literally the other guys around you don't have hair on their dicks yet.
Right. And I to finish those guys, I feel like end up getting practice. Hitting on girls or being feeling attracted by the other sex, feeling attractive to the others.
Exactly.
Sure.
They showed up at the golf course a little bit earlier, got some swings in.
Exactly.
Hey guys, about time you caught up.
Summer 8th grade, I remember, because it was a new school. I came there in 7th grade because I changed schools every like 4 years because we moved. And I very distinctly remember, like, all right, getting some friends maybe. I remember, like, going into the summer, 8th grade, like, not the summer, like, before that, sorry. So, like, coming into, the spring, I remember distinctly people started to talk about sex. Like, being like, what? There's some of you guys are touching?
Right.
Are you, who? Who's touching? Are you guys touching each other?
Are we allowed to do that?
Dude, no, what? You can't do this right now. It's like, yeah, Frank got a little, and also a little meant nothing. He could have seen a vagina or touched it. No one knows. He's like, yeah, I think he touched it. Like, no one knew. But I remember that palpable change of being like, the clock is ticking.
Right.
Like, Neil, it is only a matter of time before you are, mind you, I never hooked up. I hooked up with one girl I went to school with, ever. Everyone else, it was much like your experience, where I was just like, I'm foraging. I go out to other schools, I'm
scout.
I'm an admissions rep. Yeah, I go out. I kind of see what's going on in the town you have. Maybe you can make it to the big leagues.
Rep.
Yeah.
I know my friends were hooking up like in 7th grade and feeling boobs and fingering.
I
I was
hooked
like,
up early.
I'm not only not ready
I
for
did
this.
stuff when I was like 12.
Yeah, I didn't do
Yeah.
anything.
Okay, cool. We'll just leave it there. Sorry, sis. Turn this off if you're listening. My sister listens a lot. So, trauma. I want to know.
Yeah.
I think we did that, didn't we?
Well, kind of. I mean, you got a fair amount of early
it
childhood
bled into
trauma.
something else.
Yeah, a fair amount. But I mean, were you ever?
My brother traumatized me.
Really?
Yeah, I was.
Is he the bully?
He was a bully brother.
Okay. What's the age difference?
5.
5.
But I was telling Jesse while you were out of the room that he was like, he hit puberty very early and he looked very manly and old to me, and I was still like 7 or 8.
And
he was probably
importantly-
12 when he hit puberty.
And most probably,
or
you said
11.
you guys were kind of like buddies before this.
We weren't buddies. We were buddies. We were buddies.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were together after school every day because we didn't. My mom would be working, so he'd have to like be my supervise me. So we'd be hanging out a lot, and we were buddies. And I think I idolized him to a certain extent, and then he just got like. Yeah, turned into like a real.
He popped
dick.
out pubes, and then all of a sudden it was like, "Who's this little bitch?"
And I just was
all the
like,
time.
and his temper like was.
Okay, no,
was
a
very
lot
extreme.
of pubescent boys get like rage.
But his rage continued into
Yeah.
his adulthood. So we just had this dynamic that started when he was like 12 or 13 that like just started freaking me out. Like he would get so enraged that like it's very easy to scar a young child.
Right.
You need one moment.
Yeah.
It can be anything.
That's it.
You're just little clay balls,
Yeah.
and just one little nail groove, and that's it.
Yeah.
You're traumatized.
Yeah.
And like, to this day, I have trauma from my childhood because of
that's why you
our
gotta start-
dynamic that's in me.
You got to start the trauma early. That's what I've been saying.
It doesn't work if you don't.
No, yeah, you have to. They have to be ingratiated in trauma. That's why so many times when parents are like, "Oh, don't do this," like, "Oh, save them, don't curse around my kid." I'm like, honestly, it's probably better that they do. They get more of an appreciation for real world trauma, like things that happen that are terrible.
If
That's
they
why I
feel so-
disagree with most parenting. Like, yeah, I'm like, your kid, you're probably gonna raise him wrong. It's fine. It's am I being abusive? And everyone's mad at me. What? I just feel like so many times we're trying to like cloister kids away, and then before you know it, they hit high school, and then all the kids who weren't raised that way or say terrible things, they're like, what the fuck is this world? Why the fuck am I being teased? Why am I, we don't prepare them. We don't prepare them at all. We think we were like, no, we're going to protect them. We're going to protect them.
Now all the kids are trying to bend the world to their will, too, to their
Sure.
sheltered will.
Yeah, and I just feel like if you get a little more of the ribbing, if you get a little, I don't mean be vindictive.
You gotta learn to give and take. I remember the kid in retrospect, you would call it bullying. The kid we teased in middle school. Really, the whole problem was we'd like make a little crack, and instead of throwing anything back, he'd get fucking angry and stare daggers at us. Which, when you're a teen boy, is hilarious. So you only up the game,
Right.
and we might have started a rumor that he killed his cat, and he just raged out in the middle of a music class and. It was fun. He stomped down to the principal. The principal called me and my 3 friends down, and it was funny. It was such an exasperated, like he said, if that kid ever comes in here again like that. But it wasn't like a don't you dare hurt that boy. It's listen, if that fucking dope comes in here crying again and I have to deal with it.
Oh, even the adults didn't like him.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, that's just. I think it's
Water has a funny taste.
You're welcome.
I thought it was like, oh, did he put something fancy like a cucumber? I was like, no, it's the pipes.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's
LSD, buddy. We're following
First of all,
daddy's way.
Philadelphia has great water. You've been just like actually it resonates with this conversation.
She's trying to give you a little bit of piss.
That's all. She is not here, and that is a he. How dare you?
That's why I picked Sasha. It's
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah, much like Philadelphia water, and they have great water here. You've been privileged, and you've grown up. Producer, shut your mouth. Shut up. Great water.
I mean, this tastes
scientifically,
terrible.
it's great water. You've been
Keep saying that.
You have been bred to think that like Dasani or some bullshit bottled water is better, and it's not. It's actually manufactured. It's fake, and you're wrong, and that's fine. And that's okay. So drink your minerals. You're going to get minerals in there. There's a bunch of minerals in that one. Yeah, drink it up, buddy. Get used to the taste. All that bleach, all that beautiful...
This is the time on the podcast we're all going to drink a little bit of water.
Right into the mic.
Were you guys traumatized? Well, you sound like...
Wait, how were you traumatized? Before we get to... yeah,
he would go into fits of rage.
So you just understood fear.
I was just, and I'm not a rise to the occasion anger. I don't match. Also, he had too much anger. I couldn't have matched it even if I got angry. But I was also so young that like you don't even understand why someone's mad at you.
Right.
You know, you're like, and it's hard to explain like his.
I get you. I was on Accutane, and I was one of the angriest. I was just blowing up on people. Like I was just angry all the time.
I bet even at your angriest, you don't look like what he would look like.
Maybe. Oh, sure, of course.
There would be things like. It would be things like they're going to sound ridiculous on this mic, but like I'd be like 10 or something, you know, and he'd be like, I don't even know why he would want to throw a frisbee with me based on like how this story's about to go, but he'd be like, we'd go out to throw a frisbee together on the front lawn. Sure. And this is something that happened. So I would throw the frisbee to him, and he'd be like, throw it here.
Right.
Throw it here. You have a problem with that? If you can't throw it here, then just forget it. Right. You want to go inside? And you're like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I'm 10 years old.
Right.
The anger you have for the frisbee not going. First of all, it's actually not how you play frisbee.
It's not how you
I can
play
say in
frisbee at all.
retrospect.
It's not a football.
No, you're supposed to run together.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun. But what you're doing is not fun at all.
Just frisbee directly at someone when you're too good at
Maybe
frisbee.
it was my idea to play frisbee, and he didn't want to. And he was like, "If I'm going to play with you, you better throw it right here."
Put it in my bread box, bitch. Like,
yeah, I remember distinctly at the time because you remember all your traumatic events like with great detail. He had a girlfriend. He was wearing his girlfriend's jeans, which it was the 80s, so they were like definitively like tapered, like puffy jeans.
Why was he wearing?
Because he was, I don't know, he was just doing probably to show off that he was.
I got her pants off. Look.
Yeah, and I was like, "Are those girls' jeans?" He's like,
What the fuck
he was
did
like,
you just
he's
say?
like, "What if they are? What are you fucking insecure? Like you can't wear like you know?" And you're like, why am I being criticized and judged and like angered at? And those incidences would happen all the time. So eventually you're just like, I'm afraid of you.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of saying anything to you, but I also would like want to make him laugh or get his love, you know?
So this is the brother with like possibly more of the daddy issues? Is that
he has
brother?
more of a dad issue than I do.
So he sounds like especially those examples are like he's like trying to father you in a way, or like being
I think. Well, he also was getting mixed messages from my mom, which we both discovered in our own separate therapy sessions. No, where like he would be put in charge of me because there was no. You know, like after school, like we would have to. My mom wouldn't get out of work till 6 or 7, so we went to the same school. He'd be in charge of me. And then he'd discipline me or reprimand me, and she'd be like, and she would tell him, "You're not his father. You can't do that." But then she'd also be like, "You're in charge of him."
Right.
So he's young. He's a kid too.
Sure.
So he would get these mixed messages,
You
and I
need
think
to feed him and give him his medicine, but you're not his father.
Exactly. So that bred resentment on his side. Plus, I think there might have been something unconscious where the fact that like my father's alive and his isn't. How did
his dad die?
Like heart failure, some like heart.
Huzzah!
Hip hop!
So all kinds of that shit. You know, he taught me. You know, just like he tried to teach me stick once driving.
Okay. Gotcha.
And
I was thinking those two sticks with the thing in the middle.
He's like, you're fucking burning the fucking thing out. Like you're fucking. I was like, I've never done it before. I thought this is the lesson.
You need a loose clutch. Yeah, if you're going to start somebody on stick, they need a playful clutch. If
Yeah,
like,
he got like
all right,
so. And he's
buddy.
like, forget it. Get out of the car. I'm driving back. And I was like, all right.
So it's not a good like. All right, buddy, we're gonna teach it. Lesson
Yeah.
1. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
There were all these like instances, and then it continued
That's
into
father
our
issues. That's
continued
100%
into our
father
adulthood.
issues.
We would like work together a little bit on a website, and just he had these rage episodes, and just it took a
How are you guys now? As we get out of this, how are you guys now? You guys all right?
We're fine.
You're good. Has he mellowed out at any in the older
mellowed
age?
out a little
He's
bit,
mellowed
yeah.
out. That's good.
Good.
I get that. We've had a similar transition. I mean, my oldest sister basically helped raise me, and it took a while. Just recently, she was like, what I had to say, I was like, you're not my mom. You should be my sister. And I know that's weird to say, and she'll listen to this, and she knows, and we've talked about this, but like, she was like, you're right. It's not that I'm losing, like, I don't have to be that for you. Like, I'm gaining a brother. Like, we're older now, and she gets to be my sister.
The age difference?
11 years, I believe. 11. I could be wrong. She'll remind me of that. But yeah, it's 11 years. So, and she had my nephew when she was very young, which I told you about, when she was very young. And then it was like my mom had to go and work and then do, what moms do. And she was like, all right, I've got my kid, you're here. I'm dealing with my sister as well. So she's like helping raise us. And yeah, it's, and she's a tough lady. So, it's one
Would
of
she
those
get
things.
angry at you in a way that?
I think that in some of the things you've mentioned, no, not in the obviously the same way. Like she would be like, "Give me my fucking bread box, dude, right here. All right, throw it here. All right." And we were just playing croquet, which didn't make any sense.
Right.
But I think in some of the same instances, there'd be confusion there because she would want to mom.
That's not what traumatized you.
No, I don't think so. I don't think a lot. If anything, that was just.
You have trauma.
This isn't about me, fucker.
You're talking about me. I have.
Of course, he wants to regale us with his nonsense. I want to get into death, but you go ahead. Regale us with your
we'll get into
bullshit.
that.
It's just good.
Nah, my trauma was
You say this on every episode.
He does. He said it
pretty
far
much
too many times.
Yeah. No, I have a real depressive streak. For whatever reason, as like a young kid, I actually put like a very high premium on like girls and girls liking me. And
Where you get your self-worth
He
from.
gets his validation
exactly,
from-
yeah. But it's more than that. It is a chemical thing because even into like adulthood, I had before, like, if I was suddenly single, it was like, okay, I have about a month to have sex because once I hit a month without sex, literally, like, my psychology starts eating on itself. And it's like a deep, like, it's literally like a caveman, like, nobody wants my seed. I'm worthless.
Is it the physical act of the sex, or is it the knowledge that you've had sex that
it's
makes you feel better?
Damn near rape. Like that ideology sounds like if I don't have sex up to this point when you say this, I know
It's
that's not
Amber
what you
Alert,
mean.
Jesse Dramis.
Yeah, it just
on the
it sounds like if I don't.
I really think it's just it's a deep hormonal imbalance that like probably my hormones are naturally out of balance because they say having regular sex regulates your sex your hormones to a certain degree.
Masturbation
And-
could clearly do that.
Oh, well, I told you after that last, not even breakup, but that thing that didn't really work out. I said like, oh yeah, no, I know this is going to get bad any day now. I am masturbating the way you take a multivitamin. Like this is purely prevention to try and get through. And I was jerking off like 3 times a day just to fucking keep it away.
Just to keep an even keel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
But yeah, no, I remember like.
But you said that you need the love of a woman. you need to feel like a girl likes you to stave off the trauma.
I think much more.
But you're talking about like almost like a sex addiction or something.
Well, no, it wasn't specific. Like sex later on became its own thing, but like literally, I still remember the girl I was crazy about when I was 15, who didn't like me back, who had a boyfriend, and that like deep, hot, uncomfortable sadness. I felt as recently as this fucking year. Like, and it was just there.
Right.
Just something about that unworthy. I mean, I remember I had a great fucking birthday this year. I remember driving to my birthday thing with my family last year and crying in the car and looking in the mirror and screaming, who the fuck would ever love you? Literally.
You said it out loud?
Out loud. Yeah. screaming at myself.
Did you feel awkward when you said it out loud? Being alone?
No, I felt, I felt it in the moment.
Isn't that funny? The trauma just fucking stays. You can get older and older. I'm 45. I still have trauma inside of me from brother dynamic. You know what I mean? Like,
Sorry.
No, I'm done.
No, I attribute mine to my mom and dad had me split up almost immediately. And my mom, well, for one thing, my mom was getting over, her best friend was murdered a few years before I was born. And she literally tricked my dad into having me because I just thought if I had a baby to love, it would fix all my problems. So I was that baby for a few years.
Don't need to tell them that.
And then
you don't need to mention that to your kid.
So I was that baby for a few years, but then she started dating my stepdad. And then, so it was like they had their own family, and I was just like this barnacle on the side. And they loved me, but I didn't. So
She had kids with your stepdad after you?
Yes.
Okay.
So the best I can figure my own analysis.
How old were you when you're
4 or 5?
Okay.
5 when they got married. They were together for a year. So my own analysis is I think I probably felt alone. I probably felt left out. And from being somebody who loved music and who loved movies, I probably saw romance as that's where I'll always be important and not forgotten. And I think that might be like
your dad
the mental
gave you.
leap I meant.
You probably need the love of a woman. It's probably tied into like wanting to keep your parents together if you can get the.
Oh no, I never wanted my parents together.
You didn't?
No, because
Maybe-
my dad was a lot of fun. He wasn't fun around
Your
my mom.
dad, yeah, I think you said this on the thing. I'm just surprised you haven't connected. I feel like your dad you do have some drama, I think, from the fact that you weren't exactly your father.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't live that. My dad was loved by everybody
Right.
and life of the party,
And he
and
probably still really wasn't.
wasn't afraid of anybody.
I
Well,
think
no,
you're building that
because
up.
he ran
He
around
wasn't.
with a lot of people like that.
Sure, but I mean, in a low tier. He wasn't like he could walk up to the mayor and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, "Hey," like it was
JD,
You
yay!
only at a young age you had metastasized that your dad was super liked by a lot of people, and you thought that was a big deal. And then he was looking at you like, "Go." As you said, go talk to the girl. Go talk to her. Why?
Yeah.
What's your problem? And you were sitting over
he-
here on the
he-
side, very different. And I think that cauterized with some of the other things. I think that's really what gets you kind of anxious and you have this kind of
Right.
depressive.
And I also had it was like I disappointed him that like I didn't really have friends, but at the same time I had a mom who sheltered me and like wouldn't let me leave the yard.
Right.
So I think it was a little bit of each. A little bit like, well, why aren't you doing this? And not being mature enough to say like my mom's really traumatized and won't let me.
Right.
Like
'Cause you
maybe
weren't
do
allowed to
something
leave
about
the
this.
house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I get it. Thank you for.
I had to check to make sure. I got it.
We need to go. I wanted to get to death, so it's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah,
Oh,
we
do
need to
we?
go. How about we just skip because there's not enough death. Hurrah!
Hey!
Is this the end?
there's- Yeah. So
Death is always the last thing.
death's
Did we
always
go
the
through
last
all the sections?
thing. We went through all the sections. We
Yeah,
nailed it.
childhood, heartbreak, trauma, and now death. The only other thing we throw out there is do you have any movies or songs that make you burst into tears every time without fail?
I don't know if I watch enough. I mean, I love movies. I don't know if I've been watching them on repeat lately to like test this. I know
to be on repeat.
I can tell you. I mean, it's my wife's one of her favorite movies is Love Actually.
Of course.
I love that movie, and I'm not apologetic about it.
Do you love the movie?
I do.
Okay, so I actually really like it too.
I can't-
I watched it with. She got me to watch it. She watches it we watch it every Christmas.
Which
'cause
one
she
is
loves-
this again?
It's like different vignettes. Hugh Grant's in it.
Hugh Grant, who grants the prime minister,
Is he the
Alan
and
Rickman.
President
Rickman?
Alan
Yeah.
Rickman,
And Emma
Stone.
Thompson.
Thompson, not Stone.
That's one story. There's another guy's name, English
Laura-
actor, Laura Linney.
Laura Linney.
That's a
I
heartbreaking
mean, I don't
one.
even know
Oh.
the actors. The plot. Some of the vignettes are. can
Laura
you just give
Linney's
me-
got a brother who's mentally ill, who
Right.
she feels responsible for.
Right.
Hugh Grant's the Prime Minister of England.
Liam Neeson's wife
Liam
has
Neeson's-
just died, and he tries to get her son.
See, I have been thinking
Laid,
Love Actually
not
was
really.
a different
Yeah.
But-
movie. Okay,
It's a
cool.
Christmas movie.
Yeah. See, I Love Actually this whole time. When
That's
people
so
say
sweet
It,
that you love this
Christmas is
movie.
all around us, so
Yeah.
let's let it snow. Bill Nighy is so
And
great
if
in that
you
movie
love
too.
is that the singer?
Yeah.
So in that movie, since we watch, that is one that I do watch on repeat because
Right.
the Emma Thompson story.
That's fucking sad.
I'm gonna cry. If I just cry, if I
that-
conjure it.
What's
But
the
that's
story?
also part of the reason that movie is so good because it has happy endings and it has that's the unresolved sad thing. Of
People
that.
will say that movie's cheesy, but it's actually the acting is really good, and then the vignettes are like kind of heartbreaking. Some of them. The Laura Linney one is like really sad.
Laura Linney turns down love to go take care of her fucking idiot brother that wants to beat the shit out of her every time she's
Although
out.
that lover is just the most like that guy works in an advertising office.
Rodrigo. Do you know who that actor is?
Who is?
He played fucking Xerxes in 300. Like
really?
The
He looks like
golden guy.
I didn't see that movie, but he's just so miscast for the. She works in like a regular office, and there's like a Fabio looking guy in the office. He's like, I'm the accounts payable.
Just a thin twink in London.
I just happen to be extremely cut with long, lustrous hair on a romance cover. Anyway, but Emma Thompson's vignette is that she's married to this guy, Alan Rickman, and he's cheating on her. She doesn't know it. She finds a gift that he's buying for his.
That's the other thing.
Mistress.
He hasn't cheated on her yet. He's building up.
He's building up, and then she thinks that. She finds the gift and she thinks it's going to be for her. And then when he gives her his gift, it's not that. And she realizes it. And I think it's the scene when she's in the bedroom.
And she's listening to the CD, which is what he actually got her. And she's just like.
Did she kill him or what happened?
Weeping.
She's weeping alone. Yeah.
Right.
And she collects. Anyway.
Well, actually, no, here's the thing. The way that story ends is they have a little blow up where she's like, and this happens, et cetera, and I just have to go on and live with it. And then she puts on a smile and goes out with the kids on Christmas, leaving him in the room crushed.
Gotcha.
And that's the end of their storyline in this fucking
Last time
love
you see
movie.
them in the movie. Last time you see them in
Yeah.
the movie? Yeah. Yeah, that I cry. I get choked up every time that story that scene.
What about that one? Just the betrayal?
She's just, I think she's she just plays it really well. You really feel
So you get
her
touched.
hurt.
Yeah.
And not only that, but even to see her as a mother and a wife, where it's more important than just the two of them in that moment. To
Right.
watch her absorb that hurt and then plaster the smile and go
Exactly.
out.
She collects
He's being
herself before she has to
selfish.
go back out and see people, and she says some nice, beautiful sentiments. She's like, when you make a fool of yourself or our marriage, or something, you make a fool of me too, or I can't remember what the quote is, but
Okay.
I don't know, it
that makes
touches
sense.
me.
Yeah. That's cool.
So I remember crying Rocky in my adult, something at the end of
No.
Rocky. I can cry easily though at anything. I can be my strings can be pulled
I was tearing up. I get you.
Yeah.
I was tearing
very
up at the
easily.
Righteous Gemstones. I was tearing
Oh,
up
yeah?
just as soon as it turned on. I was like, oh shit, they're doing like a dad apologizing to a son scene.
right.
Fuck, dude. Stop it right now. And it looked genuine. They actually, Danny McBride, yeah. Like the actor who's playing the son, I was like, oh shit, dude, they're tapped in. They're really good. They're doing it. And Danny's like, I was like, this looks genuine. Like they got into something. I was like, oh,
I told you.
crushed.
That's why I went 9 years without watching Big Fish, because Big Fish. Have you ever seen Big Fish?
I don't think so.
It's a Tim Burton movie.
That's a
Ewan
good movie.
McGregor. Pretty much,
No, I've never seen
this dad is a traveling salesman, and he tells tall tales, life of the party type thing. And his son grows up to resent him. Just don't you're this big. You're trying to make you were a terrible father. You weren't around, and you tell these big bullshit stories to excuse your past. The dad gets sick, etc., and the son has to go around, and pretty much he finds the truth in these big tall tales, and it's just this big thing, and it's this great moment.
very sweeping,
This made me weep before my dad died,
Right.
and then my dad died. So I just went 9 years without watching it, because thinking about this movie would make me weep.
Like, yeah, it would crush you.
And then I watched
see
it.
that.
I watched it for the first time about a year ago, and I was just
Floored.
it felt like shitting and pissing and coming and dying all at once. Just complete release.
Yeah.
Speaking of shitting and pissing and coming and dying, we have reached the conclusion of this show where we talk about death.
It's one of my favorite topics.
Where do you? Let's just go to the.
Wait, let's do it again. Let's try to harmonize.
We can work on it. Yeah. Where do you think we go when we die? Do you think of anything? Do you think you?
Did having a
believe-
child.
Are you losing interest in your question as you're asking it?
Because I think I know. Yeah, I'm just doing the French thing of like, yeah, I mean, dude,
How do you
we go, they
say
got this
it?
dead, then who cares?
I think that your consciousness. I think your consciousness lives on, leaves your brain. And goes into a sort of other realm. And I think you reincarnate.
Yeah. Fucking
I
stupid
think that
idiots.
you as Neil or
Yeah.
Jesse is done for.
Right.
That's over.
Become
But
Zen, Veda, Alpha, whatever. Yeah.
no, you're just space. I mean, I think the fabric of the universe is emptiness. I think with a cognizance attached to it. And
Okay.
it's sort of a cognizant emptiness.
Right. There's no science to support that. That's cool. So
Well, actually, there
I love you.
is.
No, there's not.
there
You're
is.
talking about dark matter, and you think there's a consciousness in dark matter?
Well, I think
That
quantum
is-
physics is starting to get to that place.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
In
like,
what way?
The
have you
observer
do you kn-
principle.
Exactly what Jesse's saying.
Okay.
You know about that test?
I've never. I don't know.
They
Observer
found
principle?
that matter
Is that what you said?
changes its behavior when it's observed and not observed.
Sure. Oh yes, I do. Okay.
That
I
is
know what you're
science.
talking about.
Answering
That is-
the
yeah, you're
question
right.
Son of
once
a
and for
bitch.
all: if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. There's no one there to hear it. It doesn't even happen, as a matter of fact.
That's not true. That makes zero sense.
That,
That's not
that depends on the consciousness of the tree itself, which we haven't figured everything out.
Sure.
If you're happy and you know it, clap my hands. It's an old Zen proverb that I made up.
I love that. Actually,
I use that
it's
for an ego.
too long to
meeting.
be a title, unfortunately.
I don't think that.
That's
is
what I
anything.
think that happens.
Yeah.
I think that your
That's
consciousness
beautiful.
goes. I think you reincarnate. I think you've had countless. I'm not
Right.
even using that as a extravagant adjective. I mean literally. I mean I believe in Buddhism, so I believe what they tell me, and I think that you've lived countless times. Everyone's been your mother, including us,
It's very beautiful.
What up, Ma?
and yeah, I think I don't know where.
Yes.
I think there's other realms that
Okay.
exist that you can be reincarnated into.
Well, I think even science has said that our space time is made up of at least 11 dimensions, of which
Oh.
we can only
I didn't know that.
actively experience or sense in like 4.
Right.
So
So we
like,
take hallucinogenics. It like shines a light on a different part of.
I really
reality.
want to try it at some point, but I can barely handle this reality, so I'm a little worried.
It's
to
intense.
peek- I'm a little worried to peek over the edge. Like,
What do you guys think happens?
I think it's nothing. I hope it's what you said. I always said reincarnation, just because it makes life a lot more fair, and it makes life a lot less sad. Because for me personally, one of the I dated a girl with a lot of health problems for a while, and through her, I met a lot of people who were disabled, lived very hard lives.
Oh, you've talked about this in stand-up.
Exactly.
She was in a wheelchair. She broke up with you.
That's right.
Let's not go down this whole thing. Yeah.
But the overall thing
hilarious.
being, if you only get one ride and that's the card you drew, that's rough. That's
You get
fucking
one. Well,
bleak.
you get one ride. I think, as like I was saying, as Jesse Dram.
Right.
So in a sense, yeah. Like if fall in love with Jesse.
Right.
In this life, because that is going to be over.
Right.
You
But I want another. I want to go on
won't
again.
I mean, I
know?
think I have like a baby now, and I believe in reincarnation. I'm just like by the way, I'm so terrified of death. And I'm deathly afraid of it. You might say, and so it's something I think about all the time. And now that I have a baby, and I believe in reincarnation,
I
though.
was gonna
But,
say, does having the baby affect that thought process?
well, not in terms of like, oh, I won't be around for him, but I'm like, it's affected me like, oh God, I don't want to go through this again. Like just a baby, no, you can't do anything. You got to go through all that like a waking up period, like year after year.
if you believe in-
elementary school, fear, making friends, vulnerability, running away.
But I like that because it's all learning, though.
I hated it.
And that's why you forget
I
everything
like
when you're a
being
baby.
older.
You're having dimensional jet lag, and you just can't. You gotta just like I gotta remember everything now.
I can't say. If I could remember everything, I mean, I believe in enlightened beings. That they're people who've like I believe like when you can become enlightened, you can. Our consciousness is our mind, and you can tap into the source and feel one with everything. Yeah, I believe this, and I feel like meditation is the answer, and some hallucinogens I feel like can give you like a sort of a sneak into it, but it's a crutch, and I've had experiences where like I have felt one with like I feel the connection between everything, like I felt it physiologically.
Sure.
I forgot where I was going.
Not
with
right
this.
now because you completely are not present. But
but
that's
like
fine.
I believe in enlightened beings, and so there are people who like broken free from like dualistic perception where I feel separate from you and you feel separate from me. I feel separate from this microphone. Everything's separate from each other. We're actually not separate. And they've broken when they reincarnate, they as a child, they do have memories of their past lives. If I could get to that point, I'd be very happy. But I don't meditate enough to I don't see it happening.
So you're super worried about death, but you also don't want to do the work to make sure.
Well, it's boring, and I got a baby, and you got to wake up early to make the time, and your wife is working her ass off.
Hey, man, you're going to fucking die, all right? Get on this.
You know
what you believe
that's
in, you got to...
Funny, that's actually the Buddhist perspective.
Right.
You are going to fucking die. Get on this. That's Buddhist
of
you.
I understand. I've read some Buddhist shit. Not really, but I mean, I've listened to it.
They're all like, they're like, if you knew you were, well, first of all, to tap into like the peace that comes when you break free from dualistic perception, they're like, one of the analogies is if you knew you were standing on top of gold, like beneath the ground, would you wait to dig?
Right.
Or would you start digging immediately? You'd obviously start digging immediately. So, and the other thing is like, you're worried about a pimple when you don't realize your head's about to fall off.
Right.
So that's how I feel about death.
This has been.
I'm all about it.
I think it's silly.
What is it? Are this supposed to be? I feel like was that supposed to be funny?
You're
or
fine.
No, it doesn't have to be
anything.
That's part of the reason we're reformatting the show to make it more funny.
Yeah,
like this is all very interesting, and I'm all about it.
Oh, don't be wrong. This was a bad podcast, but don't be wrong about it. Hey, silence.
Sasha, silence.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay, and it happens. I love it. They might think I'm serious, maybe. Although, but we are one, so it is shared. We are both.
That's true. You have just as much to blame.
As much to blame. Could you please again give us your social media?
At Matt Hyams Instagram. At Matt_Hyams Twitter.
And then your ego baby.
Ego Baby Mag, MAG.com. At Ego Baby Mag Twitter, Instagram.
It's a lot of fun.
MattHyams.com.
Making that spiritual fun stuff is like, I really enjoy your videos.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
What spiritual fun stuff?
You
the business videos?
Yeah, the business videos.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I love that.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
People don't know, he just basically kind of makes fun of the business venture capitalist, like entrepreneurial.
Entrepreneur thought leaders.
Yeah, I love that you just, it's
Thanks,
a lot
man.
of fun. So check out those videos, please do. And we'll get you booked on some stuff. I don't know. I have no power, but
Neither do I.
we'll get you some booked on some stuff.
We should just start booking each other. That's what we do. Fuck everybody else.
God.
Just start our own stuff.
At Jesse Dram on all things, right?
That's right.
Shows coming up
I'm at John and Peter's December
nice.
26th.
He let you on
To
a
D'Alto?
show?
Yeah, D'Alto. I messaged him like, hey, my girl's got a bunch of friends in the area, so if you ever want to book me, how about the day after Christmas?
Hey, you never know with that
Yeah.
spot, though.
Yeah, no,
It's
you
fun.
never know.
Yeah.
It'll be a good one. I'll be taking on for it. That's also we get a weird Christmas is right on Wednesday this week, this year. So it's gonna be an interesting one. But yeah, that's my shit. At Jesse Dram, at Magic Misery Tour. I put up a real funny video of me playing a guitar solo challenge that I need to make more of, and it was
I saw that. I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know the song though, but or the band.
SR71 right now.
You're delightful.
I want to make more of this because that's my buddy.
I think that's a good
who's,
idea.
He's a comedic actor, but he's never done stand up. But I feel like I could get something off the ground with him. But we'll see.
Yeah.
He's gonna be doing some claymation
Do you know a lot of
stuff
solos?
for me. Do I know what?
Well, do you know a lot of
I can fucking
famous
shred.
solos? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Just need to think of more.
Hotel California.
This is gonna be a.
But I need like 3 guitars to do that one
that's true.
properly.
I'll join you.
Yeah. Neil, will you join our guitar solo challenge?
I will fucking learn that solo and do the harmony part or whatever.
We're doing it. Okay.
Or whatever. If you ever need a second guitar, I'll learn whatever the second part is.
Okay, definitely. How funny would it be if we came in like, oh no, we learned the same part. Aw.
Ah, shit.
We should kiss. It's Christmas. Neil, your plugs?
Hair plugs for men.
We'll see you guys next time.
Oh.
Not just the president. He's also a client.
Exactly.
I'll make you hurt, baby.
This has been a DropTent Media production.